almost drove to my office to get like the proper wide screen. I could sit down and be comfortable, you know.
You know, I got my nodes up and running. You know, just to, well, my BP's up and running just to have a look. And yeah, and then it was like, oh, join this. I was like, oh, I guess I'll just leave that in there. Then I just hope that Hardfork goes okay. I presume it will. Everything's updated. But,
It's gonna be uneventful. I'm telling you, bro.
It'll just be good to have it there, so just to watch it tick over, like in front of me. But yeah, I haven't got it.
But it does make me nervous on the inside. I'm not even joking. Like, oh, can you imagine? Like,
never made me nervous. I've never been nervous about a Hardfork ever.
But we got checks and balance in place. That's what I'm actually, you know, lets me go to sleep at night. The fact that you can't put a silly rule like block size 0, and they will vote you down. It won't even get to a point where people are voting on it.
It's funny, you talk about monitoring nodes. Ben O'Halloran instantly disappeared. It's like, shit, they're monitoring.
I was alt tabbing to my wife was sending me some pictures. So I was like, sometimes she's on Twitter and she'll like send me Twitter stuff. So I was like, what's going on? I didn't know that my screen stopped when I was alt tabbing. So I was telling on myself.
It was just like, as soon as we started talking about, we should be out. Yeah, I can't monitor my nodes at the moment.
That's actually a cool feature. I didn't know it did that.
Bye. See you later.
So yeah, what a crazy ride. I mean, from 2016 to here to today.
I was there that first day on Bittrex, paying huge sums of money. At the time, the price was fluctuating back then, like loads on that first day. But I'm just glad. Just think back to, I can't even remember what year that was. Was that 2020?
That was 2018. That was 2018.
18 or 19. Yeah.
November 2018. Yeah.
I remember making a tweet saying, "Guys, look at this. It's 10 cents per ADA." I got that tweet somewhere up there.
I didn't see the whiteboard video from Charles until about 4 or 5 months after he had published it. And Kyle sent it to me and said, "You need to see this," because we were already working on a Doja.
What was it? The whiteboard video?
Yeah, we were working on a Doja on Ethereum. That was our game plan was Ethereum. And he sent me the whiteboard video, and he was like, "I want to do this on Cardano. I don't want to do it on Ethereum." And so I watched that, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And then, you know, Kyle the entire time was hardcore Cardano. He's never wavered in that at all. And
he still is.
Yeah, he still is. And me and Patrick M, I'm not going to say his last name. Me and him were playing some shitcoin games when the Bitcoin cash fork happened.
Oh my god!
When all the hash wars.
I was convinced to sell straight away. I wish I'd held on for just that.
But we were hanging out on Bittrex one night when Ada went live, and dude, it was crazy. It was because they used to back then they had the sandbox, which is like a little chat room, And anyway, wild time, dude. It's just
I didn't know anything about it. That was really my first. I mean, obviously I was buying Bitcoin already, but I was buying Bitcoin through funny ways, like local Bitcoins and stuff. I really didn't know what I was doing back then.
I first heard about Cardano when I was building market research communities before I was even in blockchain, and then I got into like privacy coins, like forks of Zcash, and then I went and joined Cardano in 2019, right? So like I kind of got into the privacy stuff first before I got into Cardano, but that whiteboard was instrumental. Like I think that's like
everyone talks about the whiteboard.
I'm telling you, that was the pivotal moment for a lot of people, including myself. I was like, it was the COVID lockdown around 2019. I was just in my room doing my work, and this video comes up and like, this is why Cardano's going to win. I'm like, first of all, what's Cardano and why is he going to win and what is he going to win? Just start watching the video. 10 minutes in, I'm like, well, hold on, I got to listen to this dude. I don't know what this is about. I'm like, oh, he's the co-founder of Ethereum. He's got Cardano, and it's like peer reviewed. And like it just kept going on and on. And I've been saving some money up. Like I told Chris about this. Like I've been saving some money. So I was working and I was doing some freelancing work on the side. I had like 5K set aside, like in case I want to buy that cool next PC or whatever. Instead of buying that cool next PC, I just put it all in Cardano right then. That's how I started, man, because of that whiteboard video.
But
It's crazy how effective that video still is.
But
Yeah, because go on.
So I was going to say, it's not really necessarily the information that's within the whiteboard. It's how he delivers it. He delivers it in a way that, you know, for an idiot like me can just sort of follow and be like, oh, right, okay. And he'll say some shit I don't understand, but it kind of, but it makes sense because, yeah, you got to do that. So you need,
because it draws real world examples, like, you know, what if given this and given that, and like he draws real world examples that you can relate to. Like that's a lot of people.
Really, the information and all that stuff. It was actually the fact that he's really good at doing those sort of whiteboard videos and explaining stuff. So
I'm hoping it's going to go to the Hall of Fame.
But because
Chris, where did you disappear to?
You need to educate the new people into the space. You know, there's so much. Like that whiteboard is quite deep for a lot of people.
Yeah, but you know, it's not that hard nowadays. So I saw this TikTok the other day, and there was this bloke on TikTok. He said, "Hey guys, I saved I do my shopping online on Walmart, and this is my shopping from 2 years ago, and I was trying to reorder the stuff that I normally reorder. It's $200 more than it was like the last time I did this. What the heck is going on?" He was like, "You said the inflation was like the rate with the inflation was like 3 to 4%. This looks like more like 10 or 20%. What's going on?" Right? That's when I said, this guy would get it. Talk to the people about how they are affected in a real world, everyday life, man. I'm telling you.
I think it's interesting because, like, I don't, I was reading there's loads of interesting threads actually recently. But, I don't know that it's just like we need to onboard more people, we need marketing, or we need more awareness, right? It's like, okay, like I'll wave a magic wand, right? And 10 times, 100 times, whatever, right? And you get a lot of people coming in, but it's going to be short-lived. Like what I think the real challenge is on how people are going to coordinate and understand each other, even when they're working in different parts of the ecosystem and have completely different experience. And I'm sure I was boring you with this, Kyle, but I did those maps in Vegas, right? And I think we need a set of standards that's like, these are the different roles or hats that people wear in the ecosystem. And these are the definitions and the sectors. And once you can kind of understand what the landscape is and what those different roles are, then there's some really interesting things that can happen, because if you're going to use tools like that Catalyst proposal, right, with Lloyd and Solana, where the masses, that everybody in the wallet users can be asked questions, or you can talk to them, you can almost have like a live ethnography from everybody on the blockchain. Some really interesting stuff going on there. Then the thing is with the D-Reps, what's really interesting about them is they will be the people that are most integrated. So if you remember, we have this kind of standards now about like roles, relationships, and definitions. So when we describe what's happening in our part of the ecosystem, we can be reasonably sure we're talking about the same thing, right? Now, if you can put D-Reps on top of that, they could do something really interesting that the blockchains can't. They can provide like a qualitative insight as to why, like the Simon Sinek kind of thing, right? Like the why, right? Because they're able to do to give you insight, not just on what's happening around them, but why it is. So I think this idea started off with that analogy of like, you have Lord of the Rings, right? You send people out to the Shire to talk to the hobbits. You send people out to the elves in Rivendell and people out to Mordor, right? And they come back with these precious gifts. This is the D-Reps. The D-Reps come back with these precious objects, which are like the needs, the challenges and the obstacles, and like how people are seeing success and metrics and this kind of stuff. That's what they would be doing with like, or this is what they could do with a set of standards like that, and be reasonably sure that when they talk about the needs, challenges, and etc. of these different roles, you could start plotting that across a map, right? So I guess like what I'm trying to say really simply is, I think the real thing isn't getting more people on board yet, right? Or onboarding like 100,000 more people. I think it's like, can we solve the coordination issue and understand what each other are doing based on our roles and what those needs are, so we can basically better coordinate. And that's what you really need. You need the ecosystem, the community to understand itself better, right? It's not a marketing issue at this minute. It's like, if we're going to self-govern and Cardano, there isn't any. Yeah, that's my. Sorry, I kind of trailed off there as I lost.
So you think newcomers could be a sort of danger to the space because they're now got voting power?
I'll be honest, right? I've said this before.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying what I've seen. I worked in other projects too, right, before Cardano. So my view, I'm not wearing any hats here. I'm just Ben, the person, right? I'm not IO or anyone else.
Course, yeah.
But my view is like, it takes a certain amount of time to understand what's going on, right? Maybe an incredibly smart person takes 6 months, but most people a year, maybe a year and a half. So everybody gets involved. They get involved in the thing that appeals to them the most. And maybe it takes like a year and a half for them to get to base camp, right? But how many people are able to summit in whatever area of work that they're doing? So I think it's really interesting. A lot of people are on an educational journey, or they're learning the ropes, and there's always that tension in communities, right? Between like the esoteric few that have been there for so long, they know all the answers, right? And then there's like the great masses of people who are kind of, they're asking the questions that have already been answered. They're finding their own way, right? So what I'm trying to say is, to solve that tension, like take like an Andrew Westberg, right? Like if you have every community manager or someone coming to him asking him the same questions, it's really onerous, right? Like the people that have got the insight, or the people
he admits he does not dumb it down.
Right. So yeah, exactly. So my point is, you need to be able to coordinate and scale kind of insights and experience. And if you don't have that coordination mechanism, and I don't think like it's really been solved, what you find is it's frustrating for the people that have been there the longest, that have got the knowledge, right? There's a lot of duplication of effort because people have the same. I used to joke,
that's
right?
Not bad thing necessarily, though, is it?
It's not
if we're talking about newcomers, getting as much out there as possible. Duplication.
Yeah, no, but Ben's got a point, because I can totally relate to the frustration. Because even years ago, I remember a couple years ago, people in your inbox is just hitting you up, and you don't even know who they are, and it's just maybe timing's wrong or whatever it may be. So there's definitely a need for that. And one of the guys ended up being, that was kind of hitting me pretty hard, ended up being, Rob from Cornucopias, and he went, did what he did and ran off and started his own thing with it. So it's very important that we give these, resources to the right people. So I think that's, Ben, I didn't mean to blow you off in Vegas or dealing with our own pride crises, but I do need time to sit down with you on that. It's not something that
Well, because like sometimes like it'll be a mute point, right? I remember there's a really smart technical guy in Cardano who I really like, and he was just like, listen, there are some conversations that I've left because the people in them are having discussions with things. They're mute points. They've already been solved, but those people don't have enough experience in their areas of field to really know that it is a mute point, that it's already been solved. So it's not that I'm being critical of the people having the discussion. Of course, they should go on that journey, right? But at the same time, the people that are the most integrated, that really understand what's going on in Cardano, that's really rare and valuable. And so like why I think DREPs are so interesting. And Carl, you remember, man, when I first joined, I was one of the SPOs, right? I wasn't trying to get into catalysts and stuff. I thought the state pool operators were the most interesting because actually they had an incentive to want to attract delegation. And I think that since Charles's whiteboard video, and he shared this vision, it was the SPOs that then went out and kind of relayed that, right? So that was a key thing that happened. And then, and at that time it was mostly SPOs, right? And then Age of DeFi came and smart contracts came online. There was other stuff that happened that meant there were lots of different roles and people wore different hats, right? Which meant they Yeah, and this is what drives behaviors, right? Incentives in those roles drive those people's behaviors. So what I'm trying to say is with DREPs, whereas most ecosystems people look for insight on chain or scraping public Twitter data or, you know, some kind of metrics like this, DREPs can actually have that integration and then be able to explain it to the masses to help scale that. And that's why I think you need a set of standards around kind of roles and relationships and seconds. So I'm just out here preaching my Cardano problem statement, guys. Sorry for hijacking this live stream. Kyle, go and read the forum thread that I put up there. But that's what the maps were about, right? So.
But I do think you're basically saying that, you know, we need to really educate these newcomers, and so they know like all these things that have already been answered. Do you know what I mean? Before they can enter these sort of discussions with people who have been in it for a long time.
I do I think we do a good job of that already. I mean, there's like folks like Ryan right here. I mean, he's a really good steward of that kind of that philosophy. When new people come into space, I mean, you see a bunch of OGs like, hey, I'm here to help you out, you know. So
I appreciate that. Yeah.
You know, like,
that's more on a personal level, though, isn't it? Like someone saying, you know, I sorry, Ryan, I don't know the work you put out though. So
no worries. I don't do much work, but no, I think there's like, you go ahead, you can finish.
No, I was just saying, like, you know, I think we need a load of, you know, real basic content, just duplicated, just going out there. Like, you know, they get how to use an exchange to start with, and then once they're on there, they need to get it off. But to where, to what, why, to do what, you know, and that's all the things that I think they need to know.
Yeah, I think a lot of what's welcoming to new people is like we need to practice discourse and have tact, right? A lot of new people come in and see like Cardano drama happening and stuff. Now with this governance going live in 20 minutes now, there's probably going to be lots of, you know, heated discussions about, you know, should we vote this way? Should we do this? And what's the path forward? And there's going to be opinions that need to be expressed and people that disagree with them. We just need to be able to have like healthy discourse, right? So a lot of that's going to be observed from the outside looking in. They're going to see, you know, this hopefully well-oiled machine governing itself, right? This, you know, one of the first, I call it a network state. And it's one of the, besides Polkadot, it's one of the only ones in the top 20 now that'll have its own community governance. So it's exciting. I mean, I'm excited.
But talking about governance to newcomers, I don't think they care, do they? Well, I'm not sure unless you know different. But you know, for me, a newcomer would be like, oh well, I leave that to the guys who know what they're doing, who have been in it for a long time. I'm just coming in. I like the vision, or I like whatever. I'm coming in. You know.
There's a really interesting discussion on Twitter about that. The term citizen hadn't got a definition in the Constitution, which I thought was really interesting, because it's okay if you're just holding a coin or a token or you're not active, that's fine, right? But there is something more if you're willing to take on kind of like a duty and give back. And to me, that's something like a citizenship. And that's a really interesting concept that I've seen floated around.
So the man of the hour is here. Hang on one
interesting
second.
Learning curve for newcomers. They're gonna, because when you come from Cardano, especially if you come from another ecosystem, you're like, okay, I want to stake my ADA, right? It's gonna be weird because you're gonna delegate your wallet and the ADA is not gonna leave your wallet. And now we have a second method of delegation. So, and it also doesn't leave your wallet. So now you have to delegate your wallet twice, and that's got to get expressed to newcomers. It's like, how am I doing this? How am I delegating my wallet 2 different times in 2 different ways? What's the difference between them? And why does the ADA stay in my wallet? I'm not used to this. So I think there's a little bit of a newcomer learning curve with that we need to express to newcomers. Sorry for interrupting, Chris. You did.
No, you're good, brother. And that's a good point. I think we should talk about what wallets have adapted to that new structure coming forward, so people know what wallets they can look to execute whatever their intentions may be on the chain. Sam is a big part of where we're headed today, and so I think it's good to talk to him for a minute and see, like, is there anything that's that you have to do manually going forward to the next, what are we at here, 5:27? So we got about 15 minutes or so, 17 minutes.
I don't have to do anything manually. It's all automated.
Autopilot.
That's the beauty of the Hardfork Combinator. The only thing that needed to be done was basically submitting the transaction about 4 or 5 days ago now.
Yeah. HFC, let's go.
Yes, Hardfork
Sam,
Combinator.
I want you to be honest with me. Are you nervous about this?
No.
Not really. I mean, I've done so many of these at this point.
It's like you're literally giving away the control to the community of degens.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
Oh, you mean about governance in general? The next one's going to be a lot scarier than this one.
Yeah.
I mean, this one
Why
we're
is it-
going from.
why is it that?
I mean, once. Sorry, I always ask the stupid questions, but I thought them handing over the Genesis keys would be like, that's it.
No,
Like,
it's all gloves are off after the next one. Sam, you want to break down the difference between this part and the next one?
So this brings us into the bootstrap phase, and this allows DREPs to register, and it allows people to start delegating to DREPs. And then the Constitution has a clause in it basically saying that we have to wait 3 months until we go full governance as a guardrail. So basically, the next phase is going to be where the DREPs can actually start voting on stuff. And that's when Treasury withdrawals are unlocked. With this one, all you can do is protocol parameter updates and initiate hard forks. So after the next one, you have the ability for people to register, update the committee, so people can basically hire and fire people via actions. So that's obviously kind of scary that you can just create an action that basically fires the whole committee and then get the DREPs and SPOs to agree with it and replace it with all new people. Also in the next one, we'll have the ability to do treasury withdrawals. Now, the Constitution itself actually limits that some. It says that a budget needs to be passed before we open for treasury withdrawals, but technically it's possible after the next one. So there's going to be some sort of balance in there of what happens next. I mean, out from our view, you got all these constitutional workshops. They're all coming together. They're all going to come together and come up with some unified constitution across all these workshops. And then we'll have that live on chain around the same time that we pass a budget via an info action. But some people might be like, 3 months has gone by. I want to get some money. I'm passing an info action right now that says the budget is X. And there's no guardrails that basically say people can't submit their own budgets. Basically, anyone can submit a budget, and if it's passed by the DREPs, that becomes the budget for Cardano at that point, and then treasury withdrawals are unlocked. So there's a lot of uncertainty in the next one. This one I'm pretty chill about. Yeah, so that's how I feel about it.
Basically.
So if a bunch of SPOs who basically have the majority of the stake delegated to them decide to get together and say, hey, we're going to request a treasury withdrawal for, let's say, $1 billion, and they put that through and they also vote on it, it could technically pass.
Well, no, they need DREPs too, brother. And
Yeah,
so
SPOs don't vote on treasury withdrawals. DREPs and CC.
yeah,
You need the DREPs.
They could put a proposal in, but they can't make a proposal. Yeah.
But they could be.
What if they vote up?
The security of the system is basically requires us to have strong participation in the DREPs right now. So your job, our job for the next 3 months is to get people to register as DREPs and get as many people to delegate to those DREPs as possible. Ideally, we have somewhere around 100, 150 DREPs in 3 months. And ADA is fairly uniformly delegated across. I mean, if you have one DREP that's completely has like more than 51% of the stake, that's not going to be a good situation. So we need lots of participation, and we need lots of people to delegate to different DREPs. If everyone delegates to, for example, if Hosky creates a DREP and everyone decides to delegate to Hosky, then basically you have a problem where you just don't have the diversity of voting, basically, and one person can basically get anything across. And there are different thresholds for different actions. So, sorry.
Yeah. Now I was going to ask, like, should we be promoting for people to actually go out there and register and become a D-Rep and get some delegation towards you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The more people we have register as D-Reps, the more people, and if you don't want to register as a D-Rep, at least delegate to a D-Rep. Don't do the easy way out and just say abstain. Actually do some research, find a D-Rep that represents what you think should be done on chain and delegate to them.
How many D-Reps would you say is a healthy amount of D-Reps as a minimum?
I think if we have like 75 to 100, we're probably pretty good.
Okay, so
I would like to go as high as like 250. I think you go over 250 and it's probably not going to be the most healthy situation for us.
You need good distribution on that too. But Sam, can we help clear up something? So there's been talk about having to take some sort of action with your voting power designation, whether you abstain or you delegate it to a D-Rep, versus the consequence of not being able to accumulate or withdraw rewards. Has that been cleared up, and what is the final state of that, so everybody watching can understand?
Yeah, so that doesn't take effect until after the bootstrap. And yes, people will basically have to submit an action to actively say that they don't want to participate in the governance to be able to access their rewards or delegate to an actual D-Rep.
Now, for example, let's say I don't submit that action. I've got, let's say I've got X ADA just accumulating rewards for 6 months. Do I have
It'll continue to accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. And then when you go to withdrawal, you'll get an error basically that says you have to choose a voting action basically. Are you going to participate in the system or are you not? And then you just submit that transaction and you can access that data. It's not a big deal.
Okay, so there's no deadline that you guys have to be aware of as far as preserving your rewards. You just need to be cognizant that you do need to take that designation at some point. Okay.
Yeah, you're not going to realize it till you go to withdraw it. And then probably like 3 months after the next hard fork, there's going to be tons of support tickets that are like, I can't withdraw my ADA. I don't understand what happened. And it's because they hadn't withdrawn their ADA for 3 months. And then they first tried to make a transaction to withdraw it. And yeah, but it's a simple action. And most wallets are going to automate the process for people. You'll get a little pop-up if you're not registered yet that basically says, hey, do you want to participate in the governance? And if so, what D-Rep do you want to delegate to? And so on and so forth. Each wallet, it's up to them what that interface looks like.
10 minutes until the hard fork goes down. Martin and Rick are here. We haven't heard from Martin yet or Rick. Martin, I know, is a wallet guy. How are you feeling, Martin? And what are some wallets we can look to that will help the community members navigate this new era we're walking into?
So as far as I know, Eternal is already supporting this. I'm not sure about Lace. I think so. And what I don't know, I wanted to ask Sam this: do we already have an address and URL for the mainnet Gov tool, or do you have an estimated schedule when this became online so people can nicely navigate the D-Rep data?
I'm actually not sure on that. Anyone else here know? Like maybe Ben?
I had a similar or related question to that as well. If and when the wallet shows the D-Reps that you could delegate to, how are they shown or sort of sorted in the wallet? Is there something similar to like the Smash server that shows you the pool that based on ranking? Is there going to be something similar, or is it going to just be a random order? Here's all the D-Reps you can delegate to.
It's definitely not going to be ranked because ranking would be very subjective. There's not an algorithm you could set to like rank one better than the other. So it's going to be random order / search, I'm guessing. But again, that's up to every wallet to determine how it wants to do it. And basically, there is metadata registered for a D-Rep that will tell you what their platform is ideally and tell you how they're going to vote, why they want to be a D-Rep, all that stuff that you normally see in a normal political campaign type thing.
Actually, I think it would be good if wallets would hold back the function to delegate to a D-Rep right away after the fork. Because
absolutely not. Why is that?
because we had the situation with the Shelly launch that you have the OG pools, and if you have only 5 D-reps on chain, people will delegate to these 5 D-reps.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, okay, hold it back forever.
Yeah.
But maybe, activate it in the wallets when we have
give us time to get D-reps registered on chain. That's a very good observation.
There's quite a lot of pools that came out on Shelly launch though that didn't.
Yeah, but they were incentivized. They were going to get paid, right?
Because we have people until today, complaining about the Shelly launch and that they tried to register the pool and then data loss crashed and had this bug, and then there were only 35 40 pools, and so all of the people were excited to start staking and delegated to these pools, to these OG pools. And maybe we can delay this function a bit and avoid this to reproduce the same situation.
Good observation.
I mean, some wallets I'm guessing is gonna come online on day one. So I think that cat's out of the bag. I mean, people have been playing on SanchoNet. I'm guessing they have that functionality that they've been building on SanchoNet. The wallet providers are excited to say, hey, we have full governance support on here. We're the first one available, basically. So I don't think you're going to convince many wallets to say hold back on the feature.
What version should we be running today? What version should SPOs be running if they want to be able to traverse that fork okay?
9.1.0.
All right, everybody go check real quick.
All right, so whoever mints the first block.
What about the CLI? What CLI should we be running?
Hold on, I can get that pretty quickly.
Much less important, but yeah.
I grabbed
CLI version.
It's 9.2.
.1.0.
So for my scripts, I need 9.3.0.0. It's a new one with some new governance statistic features. But you're good with 9.
Sam is pulling that up. We haven't heard from Rick yet. Let's hear from Rick pre-Chang. What's up, Rick?
Hey, not much, Chris. Thanks for having me on, and congratulations, everyone, on all the hard work that you've done. It's been 7 years since September 23rd, 2017. You guys have just busted your ass. Sam, great work. I've seen you around forever, and you've done a lot of great stuff. And so this is a momentous occasion that we should all be celebrating this, the onset of Voltaire. It's been a very long time in the making, and it's taken. I saw Ron Polarin's information he put on Twitter, and he's estimating about 500 labor years among all these people to build out to this point. And if you include the community tooling and community work, you're looking at 1,000 years of labor effort to get to this point, which is
1,000 was much closer to my estimate of how much everyone's put into this.
A lot of hours in the early days as well, Rick. I think you were the early voice.
Yeah. Probably patient zero. So while Martin was talking and he asked about Ledger, I had forgotten that I hadn't done something. So I just connected my Ledger to SanchoNet. I put the link to Sancho Gov tool in the chat. I connected my Ledger. I just withdrew from the faucet. So I got 100,000 test 8 on SanchoNet, and I was able to connect my Ledger to Sancho, and it looks like I am able to delegate. I'm going to try that here while we're on this live stream. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I can delegate. There's a D-rep there named Margot. There's a bunch of D-reps on there. I'm going to make sure that I can do all those features with a Ledger. Thank you, Martin. Well done, sir. Good job. And Martin's a champion over there, getting us connected with Ledger. And that way people can get set up as D-reps. Now, my initial estimates, how many D-reps are we going to have? We're probably going to have about 300 D-reps. Anywhere from 280 to 300 D-reps approximately, probably by December. We're probably going to see that many come online by December.
So I got a question regarding that. Is that detrimental to governance if we have too many D-reps?
No, I think the more D-reps you have, the better, because you get a broader sample set of people who are desirable. That people who decide to delegate are going to have a broader choice to select from. And I don't think it'll have that much of an impact on the boundary computations because Sam's team put pulse processing in there, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. And so the more DREPs, the better, because here's the thing: direct voting is also available on SanchoNet now. So if you want to register as a direct voter, you can do that as well. A direct voter is the same thing as a DREP, but it's just a little bit simpler. We're just saying, hey, I'm just a direct voter. I'm not delegating it. I'm not delegating anyone else. And I think what you're going to see is almost an even split between the amount of stake that's delegated to DREPs and the amount of stake that is done by direct voters. It's going to be about 50-50, maybe 60-40 split between those two different kind of segments of voters. I'm just going to call them voters in general. They're just voters, right? And that'll be about for the first year. And then after the first year, after people have tried their hand at voting and said, okay, this is good, and I found a DREP that I like, and then you're going to see it kind of more shift over into the state of the DREPs. But I think we're going to be by December. I think we're going to have several hundred DREPs and several thousand direct voters on there. Well over 1,000 direct voters easily.
Don't want to interrupt you, but we're probably about ready to start the countdown.
With the direct voters, I think it will depend on if you're a large ADA holder or you have a small wallet, because you have to pay this 500 ADA.
You guys would please direct your attention to Chris's box. That's our countdown. We're on a tight
I got 30 seconds on CardanoCountdown.com.
Chris got 40. 39. I don't know, Chris. Are you accurate? He says yes.
Could be a stream delay or something. I don't know.
Ryan, you count yours down. We'll celebrate from your countdown to Chris's countdown. So
all right, I got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's Hardfork.
That's
wow,
it.
we had a block created the second before the hard fork, so 2 actually.
Last minute.
That block
At 46 and 50, so we might be waiting a few seconds here for the next one to come in.
What block are we at? What do you got?
He's got the champagne.
I got the baby.
That works. That's even better.
Oh yeah, I'm monitoring it.
I was going to make a joke and say, "Oh, all my money's disappeared."
It looks like
I was accounting for about 15 seconds post 4 because there's normally a 15-second.
Hold on, Rick. What you got?
I'm showing the last block of the last epoch was from Bloom, and we're at 43 seconds, 44 seconds until we get another block, or since the last block.
Okay.
Congratulations, Peyton and Anthony, for wrapping up the old extra. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, so one minute. Let's hope this worked.
I wonder if they get the 8th block again.
Tim, thanks for hanging out, brother.
Hey, Tim.
Happy Chang.
Hey, Tim.
Lati-san, where are you at?
You know, we once staffed ourselves, so it's been a minute 30 seconds since the last block. But there have been blocks within 1 second, the first slot after the epic turnover. We've seen blocks.
Yeah, but hard forks tend to take a little longer because they have to do a little bit of processing basically going into the fork. Let me actually jump on that.
How the nodes holding up? Yeah, they're chilling.
No, my laptop's in the house. I can't actually check down mine's holding up.
You know, it's interesting. There have been no height battles in the last 6 hours. 0 height battles.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's a good step.
Yeah, the lower the chain load, the faster the propagation time, the less likely a height battle.
With a small pool, I lose height battles now. So.
Okay, so the first block of the new epic was made by the pool that's anonymous. NA. Doesn't have a name.
Oh.
That's poetic.
I just got it.
It's just a hash.
It's poetic. We're good.
I'm not seeing it.
I didn't know Paul could not have a name. How can a Paul have no name?
A private pool.
It's just metadata.
Epoch 507.
Oh, they just never put a ticker in as
NA. Congratulations, NA. NA, you've made the first block of Voltaire.
Are you seeing your nodes traverse?
It's
I'm
actually
not looking at them. I'll go check.
I'm looking at the node. I'm not seeing it. I'm looking at the actual node. Are you guys seeing the node block height increase?
I'm still waiting, I think.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better.
You're just scaring us, Kyle.
I'm not scaring myself, man.
If you remember the cicada 301 pool, the mysterious pool, maybe that's the one that got the first.
I'm still in Epoch 506, so let's see.
Well, you're a slacker, so I'm not surprised.
Well, oh, there we go. We up. Okay, cool. I got mine.
Everyone typing away like mad. Just sitting
Josh
back.
is just chilling.
I'm in 507, Conway.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
We did it.
Let's go.
Happy Chang, everybody.
Yeah.
Happy Chang.
Let's get changed up.
So the first block was minted by an anonymous pool or private pool or something?
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. Looks good. Everything looks
Yeah,
good.
uneventful. Like, if it was, yeah.
Who's going to be the first D-Rep to register?
Out the end of the last epoch on that, so at least there's the name there.
Question. Who will be
So
the first?
now that we're all good and celebrated here, I do have a little cautionary announcement. One of the consensus guys last night identified that, and they weren't able to identify it until the hard fork was actually committed, but they force ticked consensus into Conway, and the ledger state snapshots in Conway on mainnet only. We have not seen this on any other testnet. Does have some minor issues where it could cause a replay. So please do not restart your nodes. But we do have a release in progress that hopefully should be out tomorrow morning, basically. And then you can just deploy that. You'll be able to restart on that one without having any issue restarting. But keep your nodes up.
What? So when
And,
you
Sim, that's good to know because the network synchronization has dropped to 64% right now. If you're looking on pool tool network health.
Just to observe, Rick, I had a couple block producers that were lagging on the hard fork, and I looked into it, and some of the relays were lagging the traversal. But now that they're done traversing the hard fork, everything seems caught up. So I presume that number will go up. But let's watch it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And I think it's good to catch that we're actively monitoring it. Doesn't look like a problem. The network is fully operational. It's just there's a number of nodes. A little bit of block height alignment. It's only off by a little bit, but it's definitely within tolerance. So we'll just keep an eye that comes back up. And right now, 100% of the blocks are version 9.1, like it's supposed to be, right, Sam?
Fantastic.
So if someone is delegated to a pool that is not updated to 9.1.0, your pool's not going to make blocks now. At least if it does, they won't stick to the chain, and you're not going to get credit for it. So make sure you got your node on the latest version.
make sure you delegate to ATM. And,
Make sure you delegate to ATM.
Pool that's updated. Sorry, guys, I couldn't help it.
Do it. It's your prerogative.
While we're doing the shameless plugs, I'm updating changwatch.com. As soon as GovTools goes live, it's going to be populating with hopefully the live list of D-reps, so we'll hopefully be able to see who's going to register first.
Is it easier to use GovTools to register as a D-Rep, or is it going to be easier to do CLI if you're familiar with CLI?
So I just registered myself and it went through smoothly. So
It's whichever you're more comfortable with, I guess.
Hey, you know what the network sync could be? You know how to right now it's at 66%. What that could be is if someone's using an older version of CNCLI or someone's using an old version of SendTip, the SendTip script, or something like that. If someone's using an incompatible data reporting or checking script, so that might just be a monitoring thing. It might just be a monitoring thing. It might not actually be a problem.
I thought the CLI was less important than the Node version.
Well, it depends on what people are using.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't know what everybody's using.
You need the right Node version, but CLI, I mean, if you're not doing anything or running any scripts, you just type in something that's not compatible, no big deal. You need the right Node version or you're not going to knock watts.
Right.
Oh, look at the little baby. What's his name?
His name is Chang. I'm kidding. It's Gracie.
His name is Nike.
Welcome to Voltaire.
Right, yeah. He's excited about the Chang Hardfork.
Whereabouts are you based? How late is it?
It's Nashville, so we're Central Time, and
that means nothing to me.
Sorry. Yeah.
That could be in 3 days' time.
What is it?
An hour before New York.
He's on British summertime -5.
Ah, right. Okay.
Okay. I can speak English.
Wow, you got that. Wow. Was that off the top of your head?
Yes. I used to live in England.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He's doing his thing. Yeah, no, we are sick over here at the Jones house.
Did you get COVID?
Yeah. All three of us. Fun times. So,
no, it'd be GMT -5. It'd be British summertime -6. Because East Coast is British summertime -5.
Actually, for British summertime.
Okay, yeah. Tennessee is central, right?
Oh,
yeah,
right.
it's central.
It's just
well, part of Tennessee is central. The other part, the eastern part, is Eastern time.
So are you in Tennessee?
I am. I'm in Nashville.
One of my good friends is just about to marry someone from Tennessee, and we're going on a hen do, and we're dressing up as Americans because she's English, and we know nothing about Tennessee. So, what is traditional Tennessean?
Well, I think you might. My child's grabbing my ledger. That's
oh, yeah. Ledgers, Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee ledgers. They're oh gosh, what are they
Deliverance
called?
shot in Tennessee?
Do what?
Was Deliverance shot in Tennessee?
Potentially. That would track.
If you want to dress up like you're in Tennessee, Josh, wear a straw hat and suspenders and get either harmonica or a banjo.
Now that's apparently far eastern, but if you just want to wear some flannel, I think some flannel would work pretty well.
Flannel? What does that mean? Like to
checkered
me, a
pattern.
Wash my face with.
Like in Scotland.
Yeah.
Oh, well, like a kilt, like tartan.
Well, I mean, yeah, that pattern.
But like a button-down shirt flannel, basically.
Yeah, kind of like
it's like this, but like more for like
checkered shirt.
Yes.
Like Colonel Sanders?
Yes, kind of. Well, that's Kentucky, but it's close enough. So, and
kind of clothes you'd take if you're going out in the woods to chop down a tree.
Potentially.
Right.
So,
gotcha.
Yes. Let me see. Horses. You guys have that covered.
Well, yeah. We're not going to go on a hen do and a horse.
Well, okay. Oh, you need whiskey.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. Every day.
Well, then you're already part Tennessean, I do believe.
Well, I think whiskey came. I think we invented whiskey before you did. Yes.
I mean, there probably, yeah.
Charles just reposted something that shows 6 D-reps already registered on mainnet.
Wow, who was the first one?
I just see transaction IDs. I don't know.
Was Hosky one of the first ones?
Probably. He was ready to go. He had his trip full.
It's not like SPOs. There's not going to be a ticker associated with them, so I don't know unless they come
we should be able to get some metadata though for most of them, unless they're self-voting.
I've got to do all that stuff over this coming week after we are not sick.
The dog's DREP ID ends in QWUA9.
And that's the first one?
No, I'm just telling you the dog's ID. I don't know what the
he already posted it. I bet he's probably one of the top first 5 because he posted his ID probably 6 or 7 minutes ago. Not 7 minutes ago.
Johnny Kelly's one of them. He just posted about it.
I see Ken now.
Okay, well, good. Let them all register.
I wasn't able to delegate on SanchoNet with my ledger.
I'm gonna use a Keystone, so I hope it works.
Hey Rick, have you seen the new Ledger Stacks? I got one. It works. It's fabulous.
Yeah. I might get one. I've been thinking about that.
I pre-ordered it 3 years ago. It finally came in the mail. It's actually really nice.
I got a Keystone I need to get set up.
Yeah, I hear a lot of talk about Keystone. Can someone break it down for because I've been using a Ledger for quite a while.
I mean, does anybody have a Keystone here? I got shipped and I haven't started it up yet, but I know Martin maybe has been playing with one for a little bit.
It plays really well. It's mobile.
I just made a test transaction with mine earlier today. There it is. I love having the screen. I got so tired of the Ledger with those little buttons entering my PIN every time. It's so much faster to just, you get a QR code, show it to your camera.
Yeah.
A nice touch screen.
What's up, Warren?
I will
Martin,
say
are you the first?
It's Martin the first.
Hey, Mike.
Hey.
Let's go, Mike.
What's up, brother?
I've been busy building scripts to vote offline.
I don't believe you.
Boo. Heck yeah.
How are you?
Good, and you? It's been pretty busy.
Good. I'm good. How are you feeling?
Good. Nothing breaks, so that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Hi, Mike. You stud muffin. How you doing, man?
We're doing good.
My fellow ICC Colorado Atlantic Council member. Mike's a champion. Mike, you're a champion. I learned a lot from you, man.
Yeah, are you guys going to be the first ones to get in your hot authorization?
Well,
I'd say it depends on how fast my witnesses sign the transaction.
No.
We're not going to race to put it. We're not going to race to put it on chain. We're going to race to do it right and make sure we make the right decision first. So
yeah,
that we're not going to race. We're not going to rush that one. But we do have the NFT up. So the NFT and the voting, everything is all up. So the ICC credentials are good to go. Yay.
You set up your hot NFT too?
Yeah.
Or just the old one?
Everything's off. Everything's on chain. We just have to authorize it.
Can we see if there are any governance action proposals submitted yet? Does anybody want to be the first to do that? Because I presume somebody would want to race first to do that.
That's a hefty race.
Yeah.
ATM smasher.
Was it a lot of CLI work to get a proposal on chain?
I mean, it's 100K ADA.
Well, I get that for a month, right?
Yeah. So that's 100K of rewards you're not getting off that ADA for a month.
I'll be the
small price to pay for that. Yeah, that's a small price to pay for that marking history.
Come on, I'll pay it up. I'll give up rewards for a month.
You could degen that. You could totally degen those deposits. Like if someone deposits 100,000 ADA for a proposal, they get 100,000 liquid staking ADA tokens that they can use on OptimFi or LenFi or Liquid. But just kidding. In order to get your deposit back, you have to give back the whole 100,000 liquid staking tokens that you withdrew for putting in the deposit.
I'm sorry, sir. That's a little too degen for my taste.
Dude, we could degen the hell out of it. The TVL of Cardano would go through the freaking roof, man. People would be putting in info proposals just so they can earn yield.
Listen, I've already was like playing around, going, all right, do I want to give somebody my stake? What is it on LenFi? Like you can give them their. I'm going. I don't know if I trust that smart contract very much.
Hey, there's like millions of ADA that trust that smart contract.
I know. I'm
I
timid.
am on
I gotta grab
Minnet,
my coffee.
right?
Yeah, I know.
CLI query tip.
I'm liking the
So
questions.
far, I don't see a
Bottom of the screen.
connection.
Kyle, we're gonna go in on this. We're gonna submit something.
We can take it offline. It has to be completely and extremely absurd. Otherwise,
I love
I'm
it.
out.
I mean, it has to be something to do with Jet Chicken or You Did It or something along those lines.
No. I don't know. We had a lot of good ideas while the guys were in town.
I'm kidding.
But we do need to have what the consensus was is we need to have fun with it these next few months.
Yeah.
It's a good opportunity because, A, we can kind of gauge participation and see participation accelerate, but B, it's just important to understand how to do. So
Yeah. I'm going to be very interested to get the data as far as participation goes on this stuff, because that's going to be, in my opinion, not a make it or break it, but just the health of participation is always a good.
I got one, Ryan.
Okay, massive update, guys. My name is Martin Lang. I'm an ambassador, developer, tool provider, SPO since the ITN testnet days. I created tools like the SPO scripts, Cardano Signer, or one that helps people to use their HW wallet seeds for disaster recovery. I see that in off-chain boat data on DBSync. So I think Martin was the first one to submit a proposal.
You sneaky. While he was on with us, you sneaky.
While he's here.
Or maybe the first, only the first one with metadata. Because I know
No, it has ID 1.
Okay.
Oh, you might be right. First one with metadata. Yeah.
Because I know that Easy already prepared a transaction before the hard fork and was ready to submit it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for GovTools because I'm going to jack up the metadata if I try to do that. The CLI. So
that's fair.
Hey, let the SPOs know that if their send tip is red, which will also affect network sync displayed on Pull Tool, if their send tip is red, restart their CNCLI so that it'll update and it'll send the tip. Make sure they've updated it. Make sure they've updated it and then just restart it.
My Pull Tool is spinning, but my send tip isn't red.
Okay.
You were talking the sanchogov.tools, right?
Yeah.
Sam, I just started the node with the link you gave me, and it came up right away. I don't know if there was already a snapshot, but for now.
Yeah, the first snapshot's going to be about 11 hours in. Okay. But yeah, we're running about half our infrastructure on that PR as well.
Yeah.
Andrew says drip drops is working normally. All right, good.
Block 1078138.
Okay, we're good. There's some we're struggling to get across, but we're okay.
All right, Ben's headed over to a Twitter space. I was a little late replying to him, but what's up? Thanks for hanging out, Ben. What's up, brother? I said that backwards.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna go try to put this little dude down for a nap. Happy Chang.
Yeah, I gotta go bounce and take care of kids as well.
Whoop. Bye, y'all.
See you guys.
All
right. Happy Chang.
Happy Chang.
Happy Chang. Chang bang. Yeah, it was wonderful. All right, I think first Chang bang.
Chang bang number 1 in the bag.
But it sounds like this is just the tester. We got 3 months. That's when it's really fully.
We're easing into it. Well, if the hard fork comes in 3 months, we got to wait at least 3 months. We're easing into it, so it's really, there's no real turning back. Genesis keys are gone, but there's no full governance yet, so we just have to move forward.
All right.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kyle. Sam, for the next hard fork, that's going to be us. The CC needs to sign for that to make it extra.
CC and SPOs.
I was going to ask about that
CC
earlier.
and SPOs.
CC and SPOs are going to have to sign for the next hard fork. I hope that's important. Everybody remember that.
So constitutionally, the CCs, the SPOs should be able to sign as soon as the action is submitted. But if the CC members are following the Constitution as it is said, the CCs should not sign the action until the 3 months goes by. Otherwise, they're basically violating the Constitution by signing that.
Sure. And who's going to submit that is going to be anybody, right? Anybody could submit.
It could be anyone.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm waiting 3 months, no problem. I'm making sure the Constitution is followed, right? So, yeah, and that's something that's important for people to understand is for stake pool operators and DREPs, they vote on a proposal based on what do I like, right? Or based on what is my best interest or what is my best judgment, what is my best economic analysis, right? What's my best network analysis? That's what the SPOs and DREPs vote on. It's like their opinion and their assessment. And then the Constitutional Committee votes on, is it constitutional, right? And then, of course, nothing's perfect. We did those case studies out in Longmont, for example, with the Constitutional Committee members. There is gray area. There's some gray area where you got to use your experience and judgment and say, is this constitutional, right? And then figure out what is the correct answer, yes or no. But yeah, that was pretty interesting. I got a kick out of those case studies.
Now, do we have one more Chang Hardfork, or are there two more Chang Hardforks?
There's one more.
One more.
So essentially, it's a transaction that's basically just put on 5 days prior. Like you said, I think that's what you said you did. You submitted the transaction, and then now you're just waiting and the epoch for it to take place. So how many is this what's going to happen next, but by DREPs, or is it multi-sig? How does it work? What
so you mean
have to do?
So it all happens in parallel. Someone submits a proposal to Hardfork that references a hash, it points to a hash as an anchor, right? And it sits there. And in parallel, SPOs can vote on it. And also in parallel, CC members can vote on it. But CC members aren't probably going to vote yes or no until after the required amount of time elapses. But and then once all yes thresholds are met, it automatically executes. It's actually pretty simple. It really is.
So it's basically just put out there, everyone votes yes, and it's done.
Yeah. Once those thresholds are met, once you get a yes, yes, yes. Now, Sam, I don't know if a hard fork proposal expires inside of 30 days. So if someone submits one today,
it'll expire in 30 days.
It'll expire in 30 days, so it's never going to pass because the Constitutional Committee is not going to pass it, right? It's not going to meet constitutional requirements. So there's no point in submitting a hard fork proposal for until about day 80, approximately, day 70, day 80. Could do as early as day 60, but you're kind of really cutting the edge right there. You're kind of pushing the limits. You could submit it, but yeah, we probably wouldn't see it until like day 80 or so.
What if in, say, 3 months after, the final, umbilical cord is cut, you get like 100 proposals for a hard fork, and then but all different, and then everyone, so by the amount, it seems guaranteed that there is going to be a fork just by the voting measure. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You just take the earliest valid one and then coordinate with the other teams and say, all right, we're going to look at the earliest valid one, the correctly constructed one that has reference to the anchor or something like that, right? You coordinate with the other.
So you wouldn't
teams.
be looking at all of them, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, I was mistaken earlier. The DB sync I was looking at had some lingering state from a previous test on a test net. So there are no proposals live right now, but we do have some DREPs live. So I found a correct DB sync, and I also was querying in the GovState queries, and there are 0 proposals live. So
Good.
no one has risked the 100K to put out in the first info action proposal yet.
So is the committee supposed to directly vote on proposals when they came live, or is like in the scenario for the Hardfork? Because we saw this with the D apps now, and we delayed the Hardfork and Epoch, so we have to be really careful with the next Hardforks. Organize ourselves.
Oh, it's all over. People don't have the luxury to say, please give me one more epoch. It's just, if you're not ready, you're not ready. You better be paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know,
this was the last chance people had to basically request a delay.
But
After this, there's no chance for people to delay other than asking the SPOs basically to vote no on it because my DApp isn't ready type thing.
But do you think that the committee will take a look at platforms like Intersect and check, okay, the apps are signaling now, yeah, we are ready, and then they will submit their vote?
So the committee itself, if you follow the Constitution directly, should not be doing that, because the Constitution doesn't mention anything about that being within the committee's remit to do. Now you can play some games with that. You can say, well, the Constitution doesn't say you have to vote yes right away, and you can wait like some time. And so maybe some committee members might, like maybe the CF will be like, we're not going to give our assent on it until constituents have told us it's time to go. But I'm guessing not all the committee are going to collaborate in that regard. We'll see what people do. But I mean, I in my opinion, we are completely live, democratized now, and if the people say we should fork, we should fork.
Yeah, and my suggestion is we do it the way we were taught. Same thing for the Mary Hardfork, the Alonzo Hardfork, and even now the Chang Hardfork. IOG and CF communicated like a year in advance that the estimated hard fork was going to be Q1 or Q2 of 2024. So technically we're 3 months late, right? And so people have plenty of time to get ready, but just because it was announced doesn't mean they can get ready, because the infrastructure dependencies, this guy makes this tool, this guy makes this widget, they got to wait until that one's ready, they got to wait till this one's ready, and all those things are kind of muddy as they start to come together. And then as you get closer to the time, people got to check the pulse and say, hey, how are the devs doing over on this critical thing? Like, was Martin able to update the ledger? And they're like, no, Martin's waiting on the other guy to update the thing that the ledger plugs into or whatever, right? And so then, so you got to, as the time gets closer, you start to narrow the window, and then you set a hard deadline, right? And then every time you set a hard deadline, everybody says, oh no, I'm not going to be ready, right? And then you find out, oh, okay, now we got to find out what the real deadline is, because the first hard deadline we set, we found out we got to push it back a week. So we're probably going to do that again and again and again for the next hard forks. And so we just learned from that, like what worked in the past, and then we just do that again the next time. Because so far it's worked.
How just add to the reputation of all the dApps as well, the ones that can sort of adapt the fastest to the changes and stuff. They're the ones that are really, have got more substance about them.
Well, it depends on what they're dependent on. Like if they're dependent on Aiken and Aiken's not updated yet, they got to get the Aiken updated before they can update the DApp. For example, if that is a requirement, it doesn't always. Yeah, there's not always a breaking change. Sometimes there might be a breaking change. Sometimes maybe not so much.
Worth noting. Definitely.
Yeah, it depends on what they're building and what they're using it for. If they're using like Mesh.js, like they might say, oh, shoot, I got to get that thing updated before I change my tool, right? it's pretty interesting how this is going to work in a decentralized environment. It'll be a little bit messy, but it'll be fine. It'll be all right.
We'll get a taste of how messy it's going to be these next 3 months, because if people are really shooting off funny proposals with just 100K, the 100K deposit, if you will, if we get a lot of those, then we can expect chaos, I think. I think it's going to get interesting.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways we can work this. We can say that basically there's a governance season, and there's precedent for this. I believe Texas is one of the states that does this, where they don't have full-time legislature. They only come in session like once or like 4 times a year or something. And then when they come together, they vote on everything in that session that they have, and then they go out of session again. So basically...
That's super interesting. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but if we were to put something in the Constitution like that, that could provide protection for the public seats, like Rick, for example. So you guys don't have to come in every freaking night and deal with proposals, because that's all there are, a bunch of damn proposals. 4 times a year, you guys convene and address everything that's on the docket, something like that. That actually might be something to fight for now. I don't, and you said there was precedence for that, right, Sam?
Oh yeah, there's precedent in a number of states in the U.S. I don't know how many other places outside of the U.S. there is, but yeah. So I mean, a part-time legislature could be a solution for that, where we basically say, you can submit proposals all you want, but we're only going to vote on them in every 4th month. So like January, May, so on and so forth.
I mean,
yeah, and just so you
say, though, you have to get enough votes for, like, if you want something talked about in Parliament, you need to get enough votes for it to reach that threshold, and even then, they make a decision as to whether everyone's gonna debate it.
Well, they've got to look
right,
at
but if you put it in the Constitution, the D-reps could vote on it, yes, and the SPOs could vote on it, yes. But if you basically say this is voting season, if you put your vote in before then, you're not really going to have any impact type thing.
Yeah. The kind of thing that we talked about with Cardano Atlantic Council, for example, is we would do, individual review up to and including every Thursday. And then Thursday, you go right down the list, boom, 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 boom. What do we think of each one? For example, right, Mike? And then, every Tuesday there's a cutoff and say, okay, here's the next batch. Make sure you read these by Thursday. And then Thursday you go down through the list. Boom, 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 boom. And then circle and circle. And then what happens is then you either do that more frequently if you have a heavier load of proposals, or you do it less frequently if there is a lighter load of proposals. But you got to set a rhythm based on the flow. And my assumption is, there's going to be a lot early on, not right after Chang 1, because there's not much they can do with them. But right after Chang 2, we're anticipating a pretty heavy load within a couple of weeks. And then we're going to get through those. And fortunately, this can be done in parallel, where the CC doesn't have to wait to see what the D-reps come up with, right? Because there's a lot of times a proposal might be, you don't know if the D-reps like it or not. They might like it, they might not like it. But whether or not they like it or not like it, you can always meet the yes threshold as a CC. Or if the CCs are submitting no, once you hit 4 out of 7 no's, then you're going to say, well, that one's not going to pass, no matter what the D-reps vote on, right? So anyway, it's as long as people understand it's an in parallel thing, and the different groups are not dependent on each other for approval, right? And I don't remember which ones require SPOs. I have to look at the exact list so I make sure. I mean, I'm just going to make a little cheat sheet that has all the ones. The SPOs can vote on confidence, no confidence, and certain security parameters, but not all security parameters. So a little cheat sheet, I'll extract that from the Constitution. It is listed in there. Matter of fact, I'll drop that link in the chat.
Update committee as well, and hard forks, obviously.
Yeah, update committee, hard fork, and I thought there's a couple of actual security parameters that SPOS will
PP
be
security
voting on
group.
as well.
Yeah. So any of the parameters that are in the security group, the SPOs vote on.
Yeah.
And the security group is kind of a lattice across all the different groups. So basically, we pick the ones that were important that SPOs give input on, and then basically they have a vote on those ones, but they don't have a vote on the other ones.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and that's
So, like for example, voting thresholds. They have no. If I remember right, there's no voting thresholds that require an SPO to change.
All right, Mike, go for it, Mike. Come on, give it to us, homie.
Yeah. I have a catastrophic scenario. Oh no, sorry.
Steve wants to come hang. Yeah, go ahead, Mike. Tell your
I don't.
scenario.
Yeah, I don't usually swear. I'm sorry. Yeah. So okay, here it is. Let's say that none of us, as the ICC, authorize our hotkey credentials during this epoch, and someone propose a hard fork initiation governance action, and you get all the SPOs threshold within the same epoch.
I'm actually not sure if that's something we've tested.
I did.
Oh, whoa.
You did.
What happened?
It's gonna pass.
It's gonna pass because the min committee size is 0.
So that brings me to the point of: are you available, Rick, to sign the transaction?
Yeah. I'm available to sign it. I'm ready to go. I want to sign a mainnet transaction.
Yeah. Unlikely to happen though.
IOG is planning on getting ours in this epoch as well. So
yeah, we got to tell the other councils. Sam, you can notify your folks, right?
Yep.
All right, let's go get those transactions signed. Let's give ourselves a deadline of no later than tomorrow.
I had a bunch of certificates sent me over the weekend here to review. So the CSRs are almost done. There's a few stragglers that we're following up on, basically. But yeah, we're setting a target internally to get our hot authorization registered as well. So that's one.
Mike,
okay, good.
Have you tested this with major version 10 or 11?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, which one was it? I was back with Johnny.
With 9 or 10, I think he's asking.
No, because
it was 9.
The node would refuse to execute major version 11.
Oh, to fork to major version. You're saying the fork to major version 10.
Yeah.
The fork to major. Actually, it should be the fork to major 10 normally if it's only SPOs and the committee itself. And since the committee minimum size is kind of deactivated and we're on a normal state and only the hot credentials are considered in that scenario, it is possible, but very super unlikely, because if only one of us authorize our keys, then this scenario is not going to happen. But yeah.
So we could fork to 10.1 now, because I think 11 is out of scope. The node would refuse it to execute it.
From 9 to 10, we could. Well, the SPOs could trigger.
We are still in 9. Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
That's with all the tests. We are all in 9. Okay.
Yeah. So many resets. It's confusing.
Yeah. Okay. Not good.
Sam, what you looking at right now? What's the chain density?
Let me see. I'm on a call.
So Dex Hunter, can anybody confirm if Dex Hunter's down? Seems Melon's tweeting that he's going to be up all night dealing with the hard fork.
Howdy.
Oh, hey, dog.
Oh, wait, so yeah, our stuff went down too. The Hosky rug pulls are currently down. DB Sync is having issues. Nobody cares.
Yay, Chang.
Yeah, yay, Chang. I mean, I got to register as a D-Rep, right? So I got my official brand new wallet, brand new seed phrase, loaded with 69 ADA and 1694 Hosky because, you know, numbers.
Yeah.
And then I had to send in an extra 502 to, you know, pay for the D-Rep registration.
Did you do it on GovTools or did you do CLI?
No, I went with Eternal. Eternal is already working for D-Rep registrations, so you can do it directly. Yep. Yeah. So
what's going on with DB Sync for you?
I don't know. Vegas
Because mine crossed over just fine.
Well, it crossed over fine, but
Vegas.
we're not getting the data that we need.
You're not getting the data you need.
Right.
Sounds like syntax with new CLI, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Can Vegas?
Yeah, he's saying what Carl is saying is the delegation isn't returning with their stake address in the table, which is odd to him. So, we'll figure it out. It's Hosky stuff, right? So it doesn't really matter too much.
It actually adds up,
but we're not Chang ready. Perfect, as it should be.
As it should be, exactly.
Well, it's crazy, man. I can't believe we've finally rolled over. Can we play the like a He-Man? I have the power now. Because
Chris, you got clips for this, don't you? Do a Forrest Gump while you're looking for the other ones.
We need an I have the power, man. Like we have the power now. What's wrong with Sam's
Chain
face?
density of 99.6%. Looks like.
Nice. It's all the D-Rep guys. We're flooding. We're currently DDoSing the chain with D-Rep registrations. Look at the bright side. Hundreds of thousands of ADA are about to be locked up to become D-Reps, hopefully. Do you think we'll get 200 D-Reps today? Probably not.
I'm checking right now what our number was. It was 10 last I checked.
Cool.
Maybe.
What number was I?
We checked. We didn't, I don't think you were first. I tried.
No, I know I wasn't. I did it the slow way. There were people that were spamming the chain on purpose.
Right.
Well, at least
16 are live now.
That's an entire 7,500 ADA that's currently out of circulation and cannot be dumped.
Hey, Chris, take a look. Siva may be trying to jump in. Oh, he's here. Hey, Sebastian.
Yeah, he's in here.
Hey, everyone. Happy Hardfork.
Happy Chang Bang.
Happy Chang.
Happy Chang Bang.
I'm pretty tired. Think I'll go home now.
Sam, I posted on the chat. Can you tell me what number I was? Posted my DREP ID on the.
It's all the
DREP ID 1, 2. Is that
125
S or 5?
That's a 5. It's 125S4L.
125S4L. Let's see here.
Are you having a D-Rev registration party? What's going on here?
No, I want to see what DREP I was when registering.
It was a Chang Bang, but now it's a D-Rep.
D-Rep campaign.
I think you're second.
Second?
Yep.
Are you claiming your portal? Is it working?
I was fourth, so you beat me by 2 slots.
I was the second D-Rep on the chain.
Good job, man.
Not first. Can't be first.
There we go.
Good job.
Was Johnny first? He was like there, like refreshing.
Either Johnny or Easy One, who I knew was going to flood. He said he was going to try to flood the chain. I just did it the slow way. I waited.
125S. I see you as the 5th one.
DREP 125S. Yes.
So maybe 6-4 has a different order than the actual on-chain order.
Uh-oh. Top 5. Can we just say I was 6.9? Can we just agree?
Well, let me do an inner join all the way to the block table, and we can find out for sure.
We'll have to speak.
We're learning stuff here, guys. There were people that were going to submit directly through CLI, so I doubt I would have been in the top. But who knows? Bermuda Triangle Award recipient. What does that mean, Chris?
What?
Your title says Bermuda Triangle Award recipient.
Oh yeah, shit comes onto my desk and it never leaves.
I thought it was because of the Puerto Rico trip.
You know, can hear everyone typing. Someone here can type really fast.
Oh, sorry, that's me.
That's Sam. He's chain banging right now, trying to figure out the
Chain,
D-Rep ranks.
yeah.
Excuse my language. Yeah, things come onto my desk.
He's just
and
in
when
the
they get here,
matrix
they never
now.
go away.
Is that just code that's just coming out?
Wait, that's drep_hash.id.
Yeah, that's the matrix, definitely.
Hey, what's up, Seba?
Doing good. Got my DREP registration in, but unfortunately, you can't delegate through Lace or Yoroi. Eternal has it, but only on the browser version and not the extension.
I thought Best
Cool.
Eternal was the one.
So Sebastian is a D-Rep. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey,
One commenter earlier said Giro wallet was fully compliant. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the
Yeah, so I
that's
looked at
word on
the
the
wallet
street.
readiness, and there's multiple wallets that claim to be ready, and they survive the hard fork. Like transactions work on them, they just don't have a UI for delegation. So I think by ready, it means it survives. You can still use the wallet, but it doesn't necessarily imply that you can actually vote through it. So I did confirm that Eternal has the voting system built in, but it currently only works on the browser version, and on the browser extension, they're waiting for the update to be approved by Google. So as soon as that approval goes through, that will work as well.
So, are you going to be a direct voter, or are you actually going to be a public rep?
I'm going to be public DREP. Yeah.
Awesome.
My goal is to try and vet proposals on technical soundness.
On your own, or you're in a consortium type of thing?
Just by myself.
That's great. Good news.
Better than my D&D D20 rolling to determine the viability of a proposal. So
He said D20 rolling.
Yeah, I mean, everybody here has dedicated many years of their life to this project.
Yeah.
And so now it's up to us to make sure no bullshit goes through. So
yeah,
hopefully everybody on this call has registered as a D-Rep. And yeah, we make sure that good proposals go through and bad proposals don't.
I will, just not today.
There's a lot of stuff left to build, and hopefully this can encourage new builders to come into the ecosystem.
25 to midnight.
And build cool stuff.
I'm
super excited about Plus V3. My God, we've been waiting for Plus V3 for so long. It's finally here, guys. Finally here. Really excited, especially for the implications for ZK. So Plus V3 finally adds some of the stuff we need for ZK. Not all of it. There's some more stuff coming. Last I checked, that'll be not in the next hard fork, but like I said, in between updates. So it's not all there, but I think it's enough for people to start playing around. I know I've talked to multiple ZK projects that were potentially interested in Cardano, but waiting for this to come through. So yeah, people are excited about the DREPs, especially the Plutus V3 update. I think it's going to be pretty big as well.
I have an idea for DREPs to want to include your delegates, like the people that delegate to you, and make them feel like every time you can have something that when you cast a vote on their behalf, they can get an NFT that says I voted, so they feel like they voted.
Yeah, my main concern would be about chain bloat. I guess if the votes are not so frequent, this is maybe not a big problem. You have to remember when we had like drip drop, every epoch the chain would get like spammed by the epoch boundary of trying to send transactions to reward everybody with their tokens. So you'd have to figure out a way to avoid that. But I think rewarding people with an NFT as some kind of commemorative stuff is always really cool.
Maybe a claiming portal. How about that? It's ready after your vote.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like untapped social stuff that we could really do on Cardano, and that's kind of what we're trying to build out with Paima. Beyond just games, being able to interop with smart contracts and expose stuff in novel ways.
Sebastian, I got to hand it to you. You work with Shinkai as well, right?
Yeah, you got retweeted by Brian.
Yeah, guys, this is insane. I have Shinkai running on my computer right now, and that Shinkai is utterly insane. Now I know people talk about all these other AGIs where you got Singularity Net and all these other things. This thing is fully operational on my computer right now, and it can connect to other nodes on the test net, on the Sepolia test net. This thing is going to connect to Cardano, and Nico just integrated a wallet with it. And then Brian Armstrong from Coinbase retweeted Nico's video. He took it and posted on his Twitter and said, "Hey guys, look how easy this is to integrate a wallet with an AI LLM." And then Nico just told the wallet, "Hey, this is what I want to do." He just told Shinkai, "I want to do this." And the LLM figured it out and it did the transaction for him. It's absolutely freaking mind-boggling that this guy, Sebastian, and our boy Nico was with us. He was at Plutus Fest in December of 2018. They made this, and it's freaking wild, man. This thing's blowing my mind. I don't need, if you have a subscription to ChatGPT,
I do.
Get rid of it. Okay? Just throw it in the trash and download Shinkai for free.
How do you spell Shinkai for everyone?
Shinkai. And if you're not a USA citizen, you can do the Galaxy quests in order to earn Kai tokens, but I can't. So go earn some for me and then give me a bag once you get them. Thanks, Sebastian.
Galaxy Quest, is that okay? Is that the
Galaxy?
SEC? Is that the SEC on you again?
Yeah, fucking Gary will come take my bag of Kai, and then I'll.
Well, if Kamala Harris wins, isn't he going to be like
Treasury Secretary?
Oh, so he's in charge of money. Shit,
he's in charge of the printer.
He's in charge of the printer.
Seriously, we're giving Gigi the printer access.
So can it compete with this? So this is my personal use case for ChatGPT. Is I feed it a bunch of numbers, right? Data sets. This happened between this time and this time, over and over and over again. Give me a summation of what has occurred, and it does a really good job of that, without having me to do a whole lot of dissection. Can this service do that?
That was a big note.
As a matter of fact, Chris, Sebastian and Nico integrated Google spreadsheets with it. So yeah, not only can you do that, you don't even have to ask it. You can type it in as a question. I have tested side by side what the response is on ChatGPT with what the response is on Shinkai that I have right here. And I load there's a quick model. There's like 30 different models you can load in Shinkai. I've got the quick and dirty models that run really fast, and I have the super mega model because I've got a powerful machine. And so on ChatGPT will give you an answer faster. So what I did is I asked ChatGPT, I asked it a question in German, and I told it to answer me in English. In German. I told it in German to answer me in English on the question. And it thought of the answer, and then it answered me in English, right? And on when I did it on ChatGPT, it took 11 seconds. And when I did it on Shinkai, it took 28 seconds, but it gave me a better answer.
Nice.
Because I used the mega model, something wizard. There's a model in here. I got a bunch of them.
Did you try out the table feature, by the way? So you can actually create a table where you can have a first column that's filled by one AI, and the second column is filled by another AI, and the third column is filled by another AI. You can compose them together.
Yeah.
You can ask one AI to say "Oh, give me all the cities with some set of requirements." You have another AI say "Okay, write me a JavaScript code that fetches the weather for all these cities," and take that result and put into another AI that does some other task. And you can actually chain them all together, which is something I really wanted because I was using ChatGPT to try and do translation stuff, for example. I was like, damn it, trying to translate a file or whatever, like a CSV is just miserable. But now we have this really nice table interface, and we're trying to connect all this with what we're doing with Paima as well. So we've been building some Shinkai integration with Paima, like a game that leverages them together. And we also just integrated Shinkai with Coinbase Wallet. So you can actually connect your AI to your Coinbase Wallet so you can do on-chain transactions. And we're trying to get these AIs to be able to read the on-chain data and parse the on-chain data and actually understand what's happening on-chain. And part of that is native work for both ETH and Cardano. Part of that is we're working on a lot of stuff for Paima to try and make that easier. So we have a feature coming soon for Paima that allows you to wrap non-EVM chains with EVM RPC. So you can query like non-EVM chains as if they're EVM. So you can take like Cardano dApp, for example, and just give it to these exchanges and these tools and analytic platforms and say like, hey, like here's my Cardano dApp. You don't have to integrate Cardano, just pretend it's EVM and it'll just work. And so we've been building this because like we were trying to like build like games, for example, and we're going to platforms like DAC Radar, these kinds of analytics platform, and they're like, oh, well, your game's integrating Cardano. Like, sorry, we don't support that. Like, you're just gonna have to leave you off, and that's really unfortunate because it hurts you a lot in visibility. So we've been working on the system to try and like just allow you to like wrap all your stuff in EVM and just ship it out to people and get stuff supported. So
yeah,
making a lot of progress on all fronts, trying to work a lot on bringing this technology to Cardano. But a lot of these steps require Plays v3, which is why I'm super excited about it. So like, for example, we worked with Avail recently, which is a DA layer, and we added Avail support to PyMa. So you can write a dApp using Cardano for like the NFTs and this kind of stuff, and then Avail for the data availability. We couldn't get like the ZK proofs of the data being available to Cardano. But with Plays v3, that is now technically possible. There's a company called Align Layer, a really great team who's potentially interested in helping us build this out for Cardano. And if they integrate Cardano, we can get proofs of things like Avail on Cardano. You can get proofs of even other platforms like Mina. So if you want like to build ZK apps with Cardano, you could like integrate Mina through Avail and sell it to Cardano. And of course, there's like Cardano native solutions. They're also out there as well. So there's a lot of connections coming to connect Cardano with the rest of the crypto ecosystem, and Plays v3 will help accelerate a lot of these. So super excited about this update.
I didn't understand anything of what you just said.
Well,
None of
Sebastian, here's what I needed to do. Okay, I need it so that I can on the Shinkai AI, I can tell it when to mint CDPs on Indigo, get the iBitcoin and the iEthereum out of it, either sell it or leverage it over on AxoTrade, or deposit it over on Liquid and maximize my yield. So tell the AI, look, maximize my yield, and it talks to the smart contracts. So it's like a super mega ultra sniper bot. Can you do that for me?
What Rick wants you to do is to make them rich. You don't do it yourself. You set the bot up so it does it for Rick.
Yeah,
If
pump my
if you're on a
motherfucking
Mac,
bag.
you need an M1, M2, or M3 because I can't download it.
You
Well,
can't do that. You're in the SEC.
apologize.
It's a conflict of interest, Rick. You can't, because
There's
you're in
no
the
such
cabal,
thing
man.
as a conflict of interest.
You
There's
can't
no
do.
such
Breaking news: ICC member Rick McCracken sniping.
I apologize for
No,
not
it's
even
not
knowing that this
sniping.
existed. I'm always so focused on like one lane. I'm oblivious to all these other things going on. So this is really cool.
Yeah,
For my personal use case, because like with drip drops and some of the things we're working on, we have so many clients, and I'm always trying to look at, Kyle and I are always trying to look at, what's happened from point A to point B. What are some factors in between? And so that's what I use, chat for. But if this is giving you a better answer, and it's Cardano, obviously that's the tool we want to use. So
yeah, what's
that's
cool is it's
awesome.
local. It's running local. It's on your machine, private. Built by Seba, Nico, and a bunch of other 300-pound brains.
So let's jump on this week, Kyle. Let's get some. How do I pronounce it? Shinkai.
Shinkai. I would have thought. AKIA.
Say it again, Steva.
Scott asked for the min specs. I don't know what the min specs
Well,
are.
that's what I was just saying. For a Mac, it's M1.
So it should be fairly low because you can run it with local LLMs. You can also connect it to ChatGPT if you want through your API key, if you don't want to self-host. So it should be able to
That sounded
support it on cheaper hardware.
So like on my iMac here, I can't download it. It's not working.
Yeah, there's no binary for an Intel Mac. It's got to be an M1.
I mean,
Mac.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So unless you got an M1 as a minimum.
Okay, we'll have to look into that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got an M1 Mac here. Yeah, it does not run on Intel. Not they could probably compile it. I don't see why not.
So how much GPU does it take to run that?
Well, it depends. When I asked it that question, like I have 20 GPUs available, and it used all of them.
Yeah, so there are different models that require different specs. So you can pick the cheaper ones from the list. It shouldn't require that much GPU. I think a lot of it's CPU bound. But you can go through the list, and there'll be a mention of how many parameters the model has. And usually the lower the number of parameters, the cheaper it'll be to run your computer.
So I'm just laughing at Husky being the worst DREP.
Yeah, did anybody check out the fact that you can register DREPs as scripts? I didn't follow that update. I remember I proposed this a while back, and then I didn't follow up. Do you know like how much scriptability you get in these?
No, I don't understand.
I think that was a blank. Everyone, that was a blank.
Okay.
You got,
Yeah,
this sounds like a pie question.
Yeah, because basically we had this issue with Milkamita, whereas remember when we used to have Milkamita, we wanted to have the stake pool be run by the Milkamita multisig, right? So it's like a governance based like pool, and then there's a question of, okay, well, how does the Milkamita user base votes on stuff like Catalyst? So if just because you have your ADA on a layer 2 or a sidechain doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to vote with it. And so we wanted to try and figure out if we could do like programmatic voting instead of having people just trust us. But there's an issue where like the Catalyst stuff at the time didn't support scripts. And so we made some proposals related to that. And it looks like some of this may have gotten included inside Conway for DREPs. And I think the reason this would be really interesting is for two kind of use cases. One of them is, of course, with stuff like Midnight coming out, right? If there ends up being like a way to bridge your ADA to Midnight, and you're using your ADA there, like you should ideally still be able to vote with it or have it be included in the vote count. So as we grow more partner chains, layer 2 and so on, like hopefully that doesn't lower governance participation. The other one is that some people may want to like always abstain or always reject or always approve or some random configuration like this. And so scripts should be able to help with that as well.
Yeah, we already have a always yes DREP on SanchoNet. So, I mean, you can do all sorts of cool scripts like that. We were actually working on a random voting one, and it actually works pretty well. But because it's deterministic, you basically have to try all the different options until you get it right.
So drifting away from the DREP side of things, did everyone here watch Charles's video, like whatever it was, 5 hours ago, about the Chang Hardfork?
No, what'd you get from that? Can you give us a brief synopsis? I didn't get a chance to watch it. I was
that God put me on the spotlight, Rick. Thank you.
I thought that's why you brought it up.
Yeah, it was. But it was just the whole thing about governance and comparing, what's going on politically at the moment and what's going on in the governance of Cardano now. And if you think they just happen to be coinciding with each other, and he was just pointing out how governance is hard, that's essentially it. I was wondering what other insights people would have from it. Good. Glad
Governance is definitely hard. We have seen that already leading up to this. We've seen how long it took to basically get down the road to get community support on what we were building before we started rolling out SanchoNet and whatnot, bringing people along on SanchoNet. And I mean, you still have some naysayers popping up and basically saying that we did it wrong. But I think we've done a good job at building a coalition and getting people to see that what we're doing is for them. It's not we're building something to line our own pockets. We're actually trying to hand all this stuff over to everybody else. And I mean, letting go of power is hard, and then deciding what you're going to do with that power once you get it is also very hard.
But I mean, Charles did depict it as the sort of final straw. This was the final hard fork. So it was a bit of a surprise to hear you say, well, in 3 months, that's when it's really going to get scary. But it seemed like this was.
Well, you got to think from their control perspective. It's the last that they can dictate when a hard fork goes, right? So it is kind of like its perspective does matter here.
Okay,
so I get where you're coming from. We totally don't have control to put in proposals and run and set the budget and pull funds from the treasury, but when it comes to actual node upgrades, that's in the community's hands now. Absolutely. So if we want to,
he gave very much like a this is down to you guys now, kind of thing, and this is you taking it forward. And what I liked is he did thank everyone. There are people who do little things like I do my little bits, whether it helps one person, I don't know, but there are people who make big changes, and it was just the way he thanked the little guys and the big guys together, so it was if you haven't watched it, I recommend you do, because it was just really nice. It seemed like a nice way to end it all, really.
That's good. And
the
I'm glad
live stream you did earlier? Is that what you're talking about, Josh?
What's that?
The live stream from earlier? Is that what you're talking about? Okay.
Yeah, it was must have been 5-6 hours ago.
Yeah, I've been in Spaces all day, but I did save that to watch it later.
You're always in Spaces. That's it. I just see you're the only Jenny I know on CT that you're just a voice that pops up in Spaces. You're always there. You're hosting them most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I like to listen to Spaces too, but lately it's been busy. So I've only had, a chance to host and then do other stuff. But today I hosted a 7-hour space and we talked about.
You had a 7-hour space today.
Yeah, and you'll be proud of me, Sam, because I talked so much about the preamble today and we had amazing discussions about that.
Nice.
And it was kind of like the focus on the conversation today. And I even talked when I jumped into space by Intersect and got to ask Charles about the preamble, and he also was able to say some really nice words about it. So I'm on a mission. It's the preamble mission, because it really is that part that is the most important one for me. Is the one that we can really gather a lot of community input for the preamble. And if we get the preamble to be something that we all can get behind, everything else can be built on that. And we're going to have people to accept governance and participate in governance, because they're not going to feel disenfranchised. And they're going to feel like we're all in together for the same mission. We rally behind something that we're all here for. So whatever that is that we have inside that makes us stick together and do all this and collaborate and push forward, we have to find words for it. And that needs to be the preamble.
For me, Sam said, the more D-reps, the better, because then you get the statistical, statistics work better over larger numbers or something like that. So you're going to get a better result for the more D-reps that we get is my assumption as well. So
Chris, we still need to do that. I think maybe we'll do it next week, is we want to sit down and go through the Constitution and do a serious review and critique. I'm in the camp where I want as little in there as possible, just because I don't want things to become held unconstitutional on political basis, right? Like, I like this idea of a free and decentralized and permissionless ecosystem. Now, I do understand that there needs to be guardrails and guidance and principles and tenets and all that good stuff, but less is more in my mind in a lot of ways. And I've heard individuals say, and I don't want to will put people on blast. I'll let them say it for themselves. But the most minimalistic version of the Constitution I've heard is that Cardano has the right to exist, and that's all it needs to be, right?
I like that. Yeah,
I really like that one, and that's from Lloyd actually.
I can't take credit. I can't take credit from that. But then on the flip side, you got guys like Rick who are on the ICC and Mike, and if it's not defined, then it makes their job very hard, right? If you got all these proposals coming. So
yes.
But I think we need a hardcore debate. We did it at these workshops, but have we really debated the content? Like we were fed topics by whom, right? We haven't really dove into this community. I know it's late in the game to get there, but then again, the constitutional draft wasn't released until late in the game. So, I mean, it is what it is. I think we need to do a hard community critique of it and do our effort. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it in a certain way, because every single thing in this governance system is changeable. Every single thing. Some things are harder, some other things are easier, but every single thing you can change. If you have yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead, Mike. I don't want to interrupt your thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that was my thought, because you don't like. Yeah, you can. There's something you don't like in the Constitution. If you have enough, people behind you, you can change it. If you don't like the guardrail or you want to change it, you can change it. If you want to remove it, you can remove it as well. The system allows you to do that. Not saying it's a good thing, but if you want to, you go ahead and try, man. I mean, like every single thing, every single parameter. There's something you want to add, you can create a new version of the node, and if everyone agrees to get it, then you can trigger a hard fork. I mean, like everything's there for us.
But now you mention it, what sort of effect do you think it'd have on like Catalyst? Something
well,
like
hang on. So to Kyle's point, we the night before the workshop we had in Puerto Rico, we had a discussion amongst the people who were there about actually going through the Constitution and critiquing it line by line and saying, okay, this is a moot point. This doesn't need to be in here. Scratch. And we just didn't have the time to do that at the end of the day. But
now my question is, are you guys going to publish a draft of the things that you felt like should be scrapped, the things that like you felt like should be added? Because there's a whole bunch more of these workshops coming.
We did talk about that, and I think it's a good idea to get a group of people together. Anybody who wants to participate, do you want to go through the Constitution line by line, and let's talk about it. What do you think is moot? What doesn't need to be there? What's erroneous? What have you? Because and this is my personal view, the more you add in something like a constitution, the more doors you add for bureaucracy, governance disputes. The list goes on and on and on. And the United States government is a perfect example of these three-letter bureaucracies, agencies, whatever you want to call them. And all of these things have spawned from these governance disputes. We need somebody to regulate this thing. We need somebody to cover this thing. And at the end of the day, how much of that shit is really necessary? Excuse my language. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, how much of that's really necessary?
And that comes down to, something that we've been debating since SIP 1694 was first put out there, incentivization. Is it something we actually want to pay people to have a governance class for? Or do we think that we're going to get a better result if the people that are participating are volunteers? That's something we really have to ask ourselves and identify as a community what way we want to go. Because, all of you guys and everyone watching here has a say in that decision. Some people might say, yeah, we want to pay all the DREPs. They should get paid for the work they're doing. Some people might say, let's just limit the work we're giving them to a week every 4 months and whatnot, and have it be a volunteer position. There are lots of different ways we can go with this.
Historical reference. Obviously George Washington is my favorite president of all time. Second will be Abraham Lincoln. But, George Washington refused a salary. He's the only president ever to refuse a salary. because, and he said, this is my civic duty. I should not be compensated for my duty. Now, contrarian to that viewpoint, which I have a lot of admiration for, I do think some of the folks in the ICC and the CC should be compensated for their, because it's going to be a lot of time. And who knows what it's going to look like with these, governance proposals coming through the floodgates. It could be insane. It could take, some of these folks 13, 14, 15, 16 hours a day or more, depending on dedication levels, to sift through all the things coming through the gate.
What I had mentioned, I don't know if it's even possible, is that we could take that 100K ADA deposit, somehow stake it, and then split those rewards amongst the ICC, right? Because they've got to review it and they got to take the time to review it, and maybe a portion of that to DREPs. And I don't know if it would be enough, but it could be proportional to the amount of work, right? Because you've already got the people on the other side making the proposals. The expectation, they're already cool with losing staking rewards for 30 days, right? So that revenue could be, obviously part of protocol change. I think you guys discussed that already, but going through the Constitution, though we had a pretty solid and competent group down here in Puerto Rico, that's a discussion I'd want to pull in a lot more people into. Rick, I'd like somebody, you in there, Mike, your inputs in there, anybody else, like Sam, obviously, your inputs value, but you have your professional roles to maintain versus kind of deep diving and criticizing the community. So we understand that as well. But yeah, anybody that really has insight into this and wants to debate this, I think it's debatable. And I think now's the time to do it, because it's, even though everything, as you said, Mike, is extremely changeable, changing that Constitution after the fact is going to be very hard.
Yeah, I'm staying out of the conversations in general because of my role. As much as I am excited about some of the conversations and doing those things, my goal is to basically ask the hard questions that make you guys debate it and figure out what you want to do. I feel like at this point I need to stay out from like voting on we should add this, we should subtract this from it.
Right.
Sure.
And what I would like to see, Sam, and this isn't MVG, but sometime in the near future, is charge 1 ADA per character per proposal as a fee.
On the metadata, that would be impossible.
No, bear with me, Sam. This is important. Okay. So there's 1,000 ADA, there's 100,000 ADA deposit to mitigate spam, right? And then you charge one character 1 ADA, for example. It's just an example. We can figure it out, okay? As a fee, so that the longer the proposal is, the more fee you have to pay, because you're forcing people to read more information, and then they get paid. You take the fee, they never get the fee back. So if you spam the frickin' system with proposals, you have to pay the fee for spamming the system. And then those people that
reading it,
the people that have to
could
read
do
the
this
proposals,
MVG actually.
Yeah, bear with me. Yeah, we could do it MVG, and then it goes
So
into
the
a
way
pot to pay the DREPs and the CC for having to read it, and I'll tell you why. I've read massive numbers of Catalyst proposals from Fund 3 through Fund 12. And the longest proposals I've ever read were in Project Catalyst Fund 12 under the partners category. Those proposals, I did a character check. They got like 4,000 characters long because they use AI to write longer proposals, right? And it's
You're
like,
supposed to use AI to summarize things, not blow it up.
Yeah, exactly. Don't use AI to make your proposal longer, because I don't want to read all that bullshit. I can make a decision if you write.
You could just put it back in AI to bullet point it for you.
If you can't make your point in a succinct way, you don't really have a point to make. That's just kind of how I feel about it.
It's a bit like if you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it in the first place.
And like people were putting the entire resume and biographies in the fucking proposal. I'm like, dude, okay, all right, just give me a link, all right? And if I feel like looking at the link, I will. But anyway, so
I'm
if
sorry
you
to
do
hear
that,
about your rash that you got.
so that's just my recommendation: is pay for every character, every byte that you put into that proposal. You got to pay something. It's 100,000 Lovelace, 1 ADA, whatever. We'll figure it out. but then use that money to pay all the people who have to read it, because the more you make them read, you're putting it. It's a DDoS attack on the humans.
So you could do this MVG, and the way you do it is what we were just talking about in the Constitution. Put in that basically any proposals that have metadata attached to them must provide a additional fee to the normal transaction fee of XADA for basically the ICC to consider it, or the CC at that point to consider it, not the ICC.
Could be the ICC, the CC, the DREPs, and whoever. People got to read that.
Right. So you could put that in, that basically, and anyone can pay more for a fee. Most people don't on Cardano because there's not getting any benefit out of it by paying more. But you could say in the Constitution that, like, we're not going to look at your stuff if you don't attach some sort of monetary value paying in that's basically getting rewarded to the SPOs and the Treasury.
Yeah. You know, I had someone ask me a question. Can you use the Treasury to increase staking rewards? And I thought about it for a bit, and I said, yeah, you can. Is you take out 1 million ADA and you send one transaction for 1 ADA, you pay a fee of 999,000 ADA, and that will go back into the virtual pot, and then 88% of that will go out in staking rewards. So you can actually do it. I'm not recommending it, but if you ever wanted to, well, someone wants to give it a try, I'm not going to complain.
Then you get the entire questions of who are you delegating that money to, and you really don't want to get involved in that. And
well, no, if you pay it as a fee, it's not who you're delegating it to. It's actually getting spread across the entire pot, across all the pools.
Yes, it goes to all. Here's the important part, Sam. It goes to all of the stakers, all of the stakers. All the stakers who paid all those taxes for the last, 4 years are the ones who are going to get that. The people who are staking. So don't focus on the pool. Focus on the staker. The pools are going to benefit. I'm not going to mind at all. But it's the stakers.
It goes to the stakers. The pools get their margin. The Treasury gets its margin. Then the stakers get it and whatnot. So yeah, you could absolutely do that if you wanted to fill up the reserves, basically just start spending massive fee transactions and pay for it from the Treasury. I'm not sure I would recommend it, but I mean, it is something that could be done.
But Rick, on that thought process, I started thinking about through, kind of some of the discussions I've been having in working groups is, I really started noodling on, could we effectively build a decentralized sales channel? And if think about it, right? The transaction fees are going into the rewards pot, right? 20% of that is going into the Treasury. We can come up with a mechanism to basically say, okay, of those transaction fees, of that 20% going into the Treasury, can we designate some percent of that as sales commissions, right? For people who are going out facilitating deals to drive transaction volume. So we can effectively give commissions to decentralized rep firms and sales channel to incentivize them to register opportunities, go out there and promote the technology, right? And then actually give them a revenue stream when that technology drives transaction volume, thus directly tying commissions directly to an increase in Treasury revenue, right? And something like that could be pretty wild, because then we could tap into existing sales channels and bars. But that kind of lends the same result of increasing the value for the holders, if you will.
Yeah. So anything that's not a direct payout to an address. So you put in a proposal and it says pay X amount of ADA to this address. All of that would require a management function. Like there's going to have to be a committee, whether it's Intersect or Pragma or a third party, like would have to manage the distribution of those funds based on objective information. So it puts a man in the middle, right? So just to be
without a hard.
But now with Conway, you have both the fee field and you have the Treasury donation field. So you can pump up the Treasury by basically just sending your ADA to the Treasury, and you can also pump up pay out the reserves at epoch. It wouldn't really pump up the reserves over time. But basically you could increase the reserves going out by spending a whole bunch of fees on transactions.
But yeah, you're right, Rick. It would require some sort of management interface to put in treasury proposals to get what's due or whatever it may be, or a bucket to manage. But yeah,
yeah, you'd have to have a bucket to manage it. But you could definitely have like a sales arm type thing and pull rewards out of the treasury, basically say that they only can pull out so much of how much transaction volume they bring to the chain type thing.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know, it's not a bad idea. I'll be brief. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm talking to those 3 UTXO guys, and I know a lot of them. They're some of them my friends, and they're very smart people. And I'm talking to them and say, okay, what are you guys trying to do? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? I like the idea. It is a lot of ADA. They understand that. They're like, yeah, we get that. It is a lot of ADA, right? So I'm talking to them. I'm going to get Chris O to go talk to them, and we're going to say, okay, what are you trying to do? And because I think it's a good idea to have like a homegrown VC. The question is, should it be these guys, right? And the question is, how are they going to prevent abuse of that ADA? How are you going to maintain accountability of that ADA? Those are the kind of questions I'm asking. They seem like good folks. So I'm going to give them a fair shake. I'm not going to be a cheerleader. I'm not going to be a
they seem pretty new to me.
Well, that's the problem with, some of them thought they were doxxed, and doxxed is relative. If you're doxxed to like 10 people or 100 people, you're okay. So there's 10 or 100 people. But the Cardano community right now has about 220,000 active members. If you're only doxxed to 10 people and there's 220,000 people out there that don't know you, well, you're not really doxxed now, are you?
I mean, more people Husky's been doxxed more than that, and he's not really widely considered as doxxed. So, but I mean, you know, but to all the, you know, the new people to the space. So like, who are 3 EU2XO, you know?
Yeah. Well, one of them is Florian. I mean, his name was in the document, and I've known Florian because I met him at Rare Evo last year. And
yeah, he's one of the main guys.
I don't know him, right? Yeah, I've met Florian, but I don't know Florian, right? I don't know his capabilities. I don't know. And then the other guys are technical advisors. Adam is not on that team. Adam already waved it off and said, "Hey, I'm on the ICC. I'm not doing this." And then you have extremely smart people like Andrew Westberg and Pi Lanningham, and there's a couple other people, but they're there as technical, right? So
advisors,
the key is figure out who are these other folks
directly involved. They're just more on the sort of technical aspects of what's going on. I mean,
yes, yeah. That way, the finances meets the technical, so or whatever. Yeah. So I'm sorry, guys. I do got to punch out. I don't want to talk too much. My brisket is done. At 195.
So apparently Marique had the first D-Rep. I heard.
Who did? Maria?
No, Marique. Marique from Blockfrost.
Merrick.
No.
He ain't get the first. He had the first NFT too, didn't he?
I know he did. Well, he got another one.
Bye, guys. Thanks for hanging out, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
And also, Eternal is
Great.
working for
Thank you.
delegation of D-Reps too. So if anybody was wondering, Eternal apparently works really well.
It's probably
so going on the previous topic a little bit, I mean, one of the things I would like to see in a proposal is it to actually say that they're going to publish their financials publicly to the Cardano community. So it's completely transparent of how much money they're making. And B, I want it in the DNA of the company that they're going to pay like potentially like 20% of their profits back into the treasury whenever they bring in profits from the funds that they run. I mean, I think that if someone said that, I'd be much more interested in the proposal than basically saying, hey, we want 200 million and we're going to fund a whole bunch of projects and make a whole bunch of money on this. I want them to say, how are you going to deliver that money back to the treasury? What's your intention there?
And any potential proposers might want to take heed to that, because that's the force you're going to be up against, because all of us have to vote for that to go through it.
Well, and also I want to take a moment.
We listen to people like him. So
Probably
if you're going to put that proposal through, it might make it.
we should probably thank SIBA for that contribution because I don't think that would be there without you, Sebastian. So
Yep, and we'll be using that functionality very soon.
But that has been one of my number one concerns over the last few days. I called a vibe from Jenny earlier in one of her spaces. But you know, the number one conversation that's been kind of been prevalent has been the Treasury, and it seems to be like the interest of everybody is the Treasury. And you know, before you get kind of happy with your hands, you're gonna have to face the public. You can't. This is not like Catalyst at all. You're not gonna be able to just issue some governance proposal and say, "Hey, I want 400 million ADA for XYZ," and not have a real good reason for it. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to think long and hard about what our long-term strategy is, and how we use that treasury money that we have now to ensure that we're going to have this treasury forever. Yeah. And some people have talked about a sovereign wealth fund type model, basically to protect the treasury. Some people have talked about taking some of the money out and diversifying it. The question is, who actually holds the asset if you're going to do that? Do you have a DAO holding it? I mean, there's all sorts of options of how you handle that. Do you do something with stable coins and whatnot for part of what you pull out of the treasury? So, I mean, there's a lot of questions we have to answer as a community and figure out what we want to do with this money and how fast we want to burn it. And yeah, I mean, it's a hard problem to solve. And that's what Charles was talking about, to go back to what you guys were saying earlier. Governance is hard. We have to figure all this stuff out from scratch. Yeah. Day one is a few hours ago, basically. This is your countdown for 3 months to figure out what we're going to do once we start unlocking things with the DREPs coming online, getting the Constitution going. So, I mean, this is your wake-up call. I mean, it's happening. Nothing's going to stop it at this point. So you better be ready.
Yeah. So, Sam, question for you. So newcomers to the space,
I'm going to have
a
to
lot of
hop
them
off.
Won't have a clue of what's going
on. All right,
on.
Siva. Good to see you, brother.
What are you thinking about?
Have a good evening. We'll see you next time. Go ahead, Josh.
Oh, all right. Did I get?
You're saying?
Right. Yeah. So, because I want to put a lot of focus on the newcomers to the space who are just joining it. You know, they're just getting their ADA off the exchanges. You know, what should they be thinking about with all this? Where should they be putting their votes to? What should be
when
there?
can they register to vote? All those questions are going to be important for newcomers for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
or
not
to delegate
to
a DREP, because right now the DREPs can register, but when can people start delegating to DREPs?
Well, yeah, okay.
They could delegate to abstain.
And he just disappeared and was like, all right.
No, they could just delegate to abstain until they get a decision or an informed decision on who they want to delegate.
Yeah, but when are they going to be able to
get that info from?
When
you
is
should
that
delegate now, to my understanding. So we can delegate now, right, Mike?
Yes, you can delegate now. They could delegate to the voting option abstain, which is like a voting options. It's not a real DREP. And until they decide on who they want to delegate to, if they want.
I guess to clarify though, since we've traversed the hard fork, could an individual delegate to Hosky now that Hosky is a registered DREP?
Yeah.
Yes, they can.
There we go. So we can set up now, and people are going to start accumulating delegation now over the first 3 months. So
what are they?
Get on
delegating to Hosky because they know he's a figure and that's it. And what should they? That's what I'm saying. What should they be thinking about?
That's the hard question. That's the governance's hard question.
I'm not sure I understand that one though.
There's so many points of view, Josh. Like you're thinking about newcomers and how to adopt them into the space, and I'm looking at it from. I'd always seen a vector with staking power, right? Like staking keys are separate than spending keys. It's a huge benefit from a custodial perspective. But let's say I have a rocking service in a country that doesn't care about regulatory jurisdiction or rules, right? I can do whatever I want. I've got a little bit more latitude there. And it's, I create a UX where everything I've got is custodial. I'm providing a service for my customers, but it's bomb. Now I'm getting all this revenue. I'm accumulating all this staking power. So I can vote or I can delegate stake. And so there's a latitude there. Now a similar vector comes with voting power. So now I've got that tertiary key, right? If I create a custodial service that a lot of people use on the back end, they don't necessarily know that I'm using Cardano on the back end. Or even if they do, they don't understand the nuances, stake pools, voting, DREPs, any of that, right? They just care about their widget working, right? And so that I'm kind of looking at the other end is how do we enable enterprise without exposing that vector track. You see what I'm saying? Because now you get an entity that's in, can the Constitution protect from that? And that's some of the discussions we had in the workshop. And what we came to is that even though it'd be good to, it's unenforceable. There's certain things we cannot enforce. So perhaps there's an ethos in there that could make a proposal potentially constitutional based on those guidelines. That's all we could do is potentially limit a bad actor from taking more treasury money, right? Or a malicious vector. So, I mean, I don't know.
They just need to read these proposals and see what fits them best, then, is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, but Catalyst had 1,200 proposals, and it's a UX freaking nightmare.
Yeah. I mean,
hi, welcome to Cardano. You're not going to have another Sunday again. Here you go, buddy.
Yeah, for DREPs.
Well, folks, I'm going to have to wrap up here. So thank you all for inviting me. It was a good time, and we'll have to do it again sometime. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
Bye, Sam.
Have a great night, brother.
Thank you.
Bye.
Left, right, Chang, bang.
It's half past midnight.
I think we're going to see a lot more fiscal conservatism spawn out of the Cardano community as we move forward.
There's something.
What? Sorry.
Oh, there's something you guys didn't talk about too much. Maybe Jenny can comment on this because the DREPs. Maybe it's not too bad if you vote for something or against something, because if the delegators don't like what you do, they will just redelegate. But the liability of the ICC and the CC is something that's scary for us right now. And I'm sure Jenny can comment on that as well. What happens? What happens to us if something, not saying that we're going to get sued, but right now, like the entire liability about this, maybe Jenny, you want to comment?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down, especially with the withdrawals, ooh, it's a scary thought. It's a very scary thought, in my opinion.
Yeah, we discussed it too in the workshop. Like, for example, I could put in a proposal that I think is great and amazing, and I spent all this money ramping up marketing, and then you click me on something that you deem as unconstitutional, and I disagree with that. You could sue anybody for anything, at least in the United States. So, like, what sort of liability protections are there in place for you guys? And I guess that was the wording of the indemnity fund, and they're part of that question. I think that we need to consider that there definitely needs to be some sort of buffer, but it can't be free ranging. What if there was an intentional trigger of that too, right? I'm not saying that you guys are malicious or whatnot, but it's a whole can of worms, and you're probably gonna. Homeboy, what was the one dude who submitted all those proposals, Magic Taxi and all that crazy stuff he wanted to do? Remember, he came in for like 10 times what the Catalyst was offering.
We got nothing. We have nothing right now, but we do have to vote right now if there's something on chain. And this is the scary part, because there's nothing in place to protect us as it is right now.
I don't know, man. That's weird. It's almost like you would want the ICC to be anonymous in that regard, but then you can't, because then how do you elect them?
Exactly. Yeah, it's something that we definitely have to put thought into, and the consequences of all that. Like,
are we still waiting for the Tyler prison one?
And all kinds of different things,
All right. Well, I think, hey, Chris, you about ready to shut it down?
Hey, Kyle, let me ask you a question about the workshop. So I know that you have to go through like a whole process of contend the results, and then you have to get the civics committee to approve it. But are you guys like talking about who made it to as delegates to workshop? Have you?
Oh no, we really haven't even done any post work. Everybody just kind of left town yesterday, so we're just kind of recovering from the weekend. Gisela is going to be the local, one of the local people from Ada, from the local Puerto Rican community is going to be our name's Archella on Twitter, but
yeah, I know her. So did she get the nomination?
yep, she's going to go. So.
No way! Oh my god, that's so exciting, dude! And who got to be the alternate?
They're gonna ship so we can raise a little hell.
So you're gonna go with Archella to Argentina. I'm so happy about that.
Gisela's our primary, Kyle is the alternate, and Andrew Westberg is the alternate.
The alternate. There you go. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it was a very productive workshop. It really was. Like, we had so much, and Kat too from Voltage. I mean, she was super cool. Yeah, the whole thing was just great. It was very productive. We had a lot of good conversations in the community itself. I really love the workflow that they have now, because like the last workshops I've been in have really been primarily driven by us. Like the one we did in Indy, it was kind of driven by us. I mean, Adam Rush was, our, our lead there, and he did an excellent job. It was a great workshop.
So the facilitator is really handling stuff, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
really?
it went.
You only get to do the little scripts here and there, and that's about it.
Well, yeah, no, she did a good job, and we coordinated. And
Kyle made a good point earlier about being fed questions, and that's kind of what it felt like we were being fed. But we worked through those in a very, I think, productive.
Well, I got to choose which one, so I mean, it was
Yeah, but still from a pre-selected thing again.
Well, a lot of the questions that I read when I was reading them, I'm like, I'm not doing that. That's dumb. How are you going to enforce it? That was the first thing that went off in my mind. How are you going to enforce it? Like, and I wanted to bring one up, like, should there be a code of conduct for SPOs as well? It's like, no, we're going to lose stake. Nobody wants to lose revenue if they got a bad code of conduct, right? Come on. No, there shouldn't be a code of conduct.
And the more important point is there's already a code of conduct. It is your delegates.
Yeah.
If you do dumb shit, they will say, I'm done with you. I'm going to this pool.
There should be the baseline of every question.
Sometimes if you don't say enough dumb shit, then they don't get to your pool.
Well, no, what Mike was saying, good point, Mike. The baseline for a question would be, can this even be enforced? Yes or no? Besides not giving somebody funding on a proposal they put in, because I put a proposal in down the road. Well, you know what, Kyle, you're an SPO and you're not following the code of conduct, therefore your proposal's moved. That's what I want to avoid at all costs. People striking down proposals due to unconstitutionality because they fatted up the Constitution. Right? Yeah. Like that's what I wanted. That's the whole point of the exercise of what I want to go through. And because we got a lot of people here and not everybody's a doer, right? Like Mike, you got your hands dirty, you hijacked the test net, woohoo, you found stuff, it went to the changes. So there's a lot of people here who get their hands dirty, and then there's a lot of people involved who just want to get their hands their hands on that cash in the treasury.
And that's what concerns me. But what was amazing to me was, all of us have been following 1693 and been part of the process the entire time.
I'm not calling 94.
Sorry, 1694. Sorry. It's been a long couple of days. I was off by one number. Give me a break. But seriously, though,
1993, you crazy? No.
I'd like to before we did.
I'd like to put a statement in the Constitution. If you want to be recognized as an MBO, you must pay your people in Ada.
But looking at 1694, and then when Kyle printed out the Constitution for us to go through, I was like, holy shit, it was that thick. And I was like, what is in this damn thing? Because, I mean, the more, my number one concern
wasn't double-sided.
I'm a libertarian through and through. The more shit you add in a provisional document, or, that's supposed to embody all these ideas and constrict or provide support for ideas, the more vectors you add. Every single thing you add, there's an opportunity for somebody to exploit it. You have to be able to think about how it can be exploited. And there's only so many. I mean, like Adam Dean is the way his brain works. Like you can give him an idea, and he can immediately tell you how somebody can exploit it. He's really good at that. And I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had an idea, and he's like, "Nope, that's shit. Here's why."
You need people like that in life, though.
You do.
Yeah, you know, you need people who are going to really shit on your ideas, because if you ain't got, because even a good idea can be shit on a little
Exactly.
bit.
And that's a big problem in our community is like, here's an idea and everybody shits on it, but for the wrong reason. They shit on it for emotional reasons, not tangible, real world, executable.
Business acumen. Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's get a review going next week. We'll get I invite out anybody that wants to attend that. Instead of maybe going line by line, we can do a pre-read or something, and people can come in.
What about the preamble? Let's start with the preamble, guys. I really think that's the best way.
Preamble made me lose my fucking mind.
That's why it needs to change.
I read it and I was like, "What is this kumbaya?" I got to read it again because I was really pissed off when I read it the last.
Yeah, I was like laughing because I know.
But I thought it was completely.
I haven't read it.
I thought it was completely antithetical to a decentralized and permissionless ecosystem. I thought it was the basis to censor all kinds of stuff, and I get it that we have core values as a community, but I don't, and this whole we're trying to govern an ecosystem and not a protocol. That really rubs me the wrong fucking way. And so that's just me saying that out loud. I mean, like, this is a permissionless ecosystem, but that's just me.
Maybe that's what we do for the remainder of the year. Oh, hang on. Oh, Hosky's back. Damn, dog. All right.
What up, dog?
Maybe for the rest of the
Eternal.
I can't delegate to any D-Rep. Finally brought it back.
Like, what's up, Hosky?
I can't delegate to any D-Reps. Eternal keeps saying that it's an invalid D-Rep ID regardless.
Is that
of
why
who's
you're
D-Rep.
spreading misinformation?
I am. I'm the one that started this whole fiasco because it's not currently working.
Uh-oh.
Use the CLI.
Yeah, totally. That. Uh-huh.
Does Husky know how to use the CLI? Or?
I do not. No, I do not. Hey, Mike, can you delegate 1 million ADA to my DREP ID just so we can test it out through the CLI?
I don't have that kind of money. I would.
Husky will lend it to you.
Give him some Sancho Net ADA.
There you go.
Yeah, but I mean, like you could. Okay, technical stuff. You could derive your seed phrase directly on the CLI and do it from your own node if you right. Okay, yeah.
Yep. No, I'm familiar with that. I'll have Vegas try it out. I ain't touching the CLI. I know my limitations. It's hard to do the CLI with pause. You guys wouldn't understand.
Do you wear the outfit like all the time?
Marsh said you're fat Paul.
What outfit?
You just go to the shop. See you. You're in America, so what? You're in Walmart.
Oh, Rotten Potato says at least you got to select the Fed questions that you were asked at the workshop. Oh, I guess you did a workshop where they told you what to ask, huh? Do what you told you.
Did you guys like host for the workshop? Did you review all the stuff that they sent you ahead of time? There's like this there's this presentation called the Cardano CC Constitutional Review Primer by Eric Alston. I don't know if you guys had a chance to read that. I highly recommend it.
What are you talking about? Because I got a list of stuff that I was supposed to review, and I don't recall that being.
That guy's a mastermind of governance, Eric Alston. He's amazing.
It's called the doc itself. Out of all the links that they said, they sent something. There's like print this. The Constitution, here are the workshop questions, and there are different links. And there you're going to find one that's called Cardano Consultation, Constitutional Workshop Presso, PRESO, PDF. And it's a presentation. And they're really, really good. And there's actually a video of that presentation. I wish I could, I knew where it was, so we could share it.
And they recorded it. It's somewhere.
It's somewhere. I need to find that. I'm gonna make a note because it really is really good stuff. It talks about the over-indexing, about the problem of like making things too broad and the problems that brings. How
That's
concise
one of my biggest complaints
Yeah.
is how ambiguous some of this shit is. Like it's just
It
way
covers
too
a lot
wide.
of things, guys. You should definitely really look into it, and we should try to find a way to spread this and get it to other people as well.
He also mentioned how easy it was to just leave the ecosystem instead of fighting to change things if you're unsatisfied of the outcome, but in a very nice way.
Just say screw it and you walk away.
Exactly. It's so easy, you know.
Yeah.
So he's an expert in constitution. He's one like an expert, subject matter expert that has helped throughout this whole process. So I guess Mike and I, we had the opportunity to talk to him for a long time during the process of setting this initial governance parameters and the governance parameters working group. And he was a great mentor. So we had a good conversation with him. And then I had a chance to meet him for a little bit in Denver and had a good chat with him as well. After we reviewed this talk, so I was able to talk to him about this talk. And dude, I'm telling you, that guy is like, it's impressive and we can learn a lot. And we should definitely look into people that can express his ideas really well when it comes down to, you know, building our own set of parameters and stuff, right? And we're building this constitution, and that's his expertise. And he talks about those things that you were mentioning, and many other things are super important.
All right, 2 questions real quick. Marsha's question here: is there a repo or some centralized place where all this information is held that we can share simply, a simple URL? And number 2, do we spend the rest of this year leading up to the Constitutional Convention dissecting the Constitution? Because we don't have to go through the whole Constitution in one SPacePlace. We can do section by section by section.
Okay, I missed the questions. I'm sorry, Chris. I just shared the document in our chat. I don't know.
Okay, so I'll grab that for Marsh. Is this where everything's at?
Oh, well, no, this is just the stuff that I was talking about right now. There's a whole bunch of other documentation. I'm creating, I mean, I got USB drives for my workshop, and I'm going to load that bitch with files. And I'm going to make sure everybody walks away with a hard copy of every file I think that is important to have to make sure that
a lot of graphics on there. You got a picture for everything.
Yes. And like I said, there's an actual video of him talking about this stuff, which is really good too. But
so I'm gonna have to head off. But I guess before I go, one last question though. Jenny, are you going to be in any of the Cardano girls videos? I don't think I saw you in any of them before.
Well, I love my girls. I don't know if it's my jam completely. I did one. It was really cool. It was fun. But not in the main video. They just include whoever they want to include in that. So I just participated in one of the ones where everybody did their own.
Oh, I didn't see you in it, so I must have missed.
Yeah, no, I haven't been in the main one. It's usually them the ones that decide who gets in. Apparently, they like Rick as a Cardano girl. They like Patrick.
Yeah, I didn't get an invite.
I haven't gotten one either, so that makes 2 of us.
But thanks, guys. Yeah, it's getting late here. It's 20 to 1 in the morning over here. But thanks for the invite, guys. Much love as always. Take care, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, Josh. Yeah, Chris, I think we're probably.
See you, Josh.
Bang bang.
Thank
you. Hey,
Hosky,
next week I think we're gonna kind of like get into the Constitution and really start to critique it.
That'll be fun. Yeah, I mean all the workshops are starting, right? We've had a few already. You guys have already had one. You know, I heard earlier somebody mentioned that there were concerns about the guided constitutional discussions. So we obviously don't. I mean, you're going to have some of those, but I think all these constitutional workshops need to be able to stand on their own 2 feet. I don't think we need guidance, or I don't think a facilitator is a good idea. You know, we usually have individuals in the community that are smart enough to handle it. And I think it's important that we, you know, talk about things that matter, not a guided discussion on what others think the Constitution should look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shaggy,
yeah,
Yeah.
Shaggy, you know what we know, brother. I just took the link that I got from Jenny and shortened it to that. So it's tinyurl.com/Cardano1. So that's some information there for you. But yeah, we're all at the same place right now. So
I mean, the Intersect knowledge base has a lot of stuff, but you have to drill down into things, and it's really hard to get it all in one place. So, you know, we're trying our best. I guess it's part of it is up to us. So, oh, by the way, the last NFT that was minted was one of Joe, Big Joe, which is his birthday. Happy birthday, Big Joe! And he was the king of compliment.
Happy
and
birthday,
he's wearing
Big
a wig
Joe.
for his birthday, so he's wearing the wig, and that's the last NFT. So I think that's pretty cool.
All right, guys, I think we're going to shut it down. Happy birthday, Jeff.
Yep, you're late.
You're late.
Everybody. Happy birthday, Joe.
Bang, bang.
All
All
right,
right,
guys.
guys.
Well,
Love you all.
You
Happy-
own this network day.
Yep. Happy Chang Bang.
Moving forward.